It's the weatherman's response to football perfect. Oh my, what an October day in New York as the Miami Dolphins visit the Meadowlands and a date with the Jets. Nearing the midpoint of this NFL year, two teams battling to stay atop the AFC East. The game features two of pro football's most respected coaches. Bill Parcells bringing the Jets his demands to win against Jimmy Johnson, whose Dallas blueprint for success is now being fitted to the Dolphins. It's the big tuna against the Dolphins, Mr. Smooth. As we welcome you to the sellout crowd at the Meadowlands, Jets fans are excited. Bill Parcells, when they started 1-2, described his team as fragile psychologically. It's different now.
It's different. They're not fragile anymore. In fact, they're very excited. I was out at Jet Camp this week, and the atmosphere was electric. Bill Parcells told his team, pressure comes with winning. The players love that feeling. They're going to do well with it. On offense, the Jets have Neil O'Donnell and Adrian Morrell, two playmakers. And on defense, they have playmakers in Mo Lewis and Aaron Glenn. Now, look, you can call me crazy, but I think if the Jets win the day, go 5-2, they're going to the playoffs.
And Jimmy Johnson says that he'd be shocked if Miami doesn't make it to the playoffs.
Well, he has Dan Marino and company, but you got to think about something. You think Dan Marino isn't relaxed, licking his chops? In 24 games, he's thrown 64 touchdown passes against this team. That's a career for any other player, including Phil Simms. Mr. Crazy over there. But, you know, when you look at it, there have been a lot of changes in the offense. Their offense is struggling. Bernie Parmalee is a running back. Normally becomes a fullback. And Lamar Thomas, they switch. He now starts at a receiver. Fred Barnett sits down. They're in trouble.
Well, Jimmy Johnson has made it simple for his team in the pregame chat. Give me 60 minutes.
60 minutes on three. Here we go. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. 60 minutes. Here we go.
What a day for this NFL game, the Dolphins and Jets. It'll be Olindo Mare kicking it off as the Jets will have it first. Leon Johnson and dangerous Aaron Glenn are deep for the Jets. Mare. Line drive, sidewinder, one hop to Johnson. The rookie from North Carolina is hit hard at the 24-yard line, and that's where the Jets will begin as Neil O'Donnell takes the field. One of the toughest men in the league when it comes to that statistic. He doesn't cough up the ball with interceptions. Here is his offensive line. Elliott, Palale, Conrad starting his first game at center. He's not snapped the ball all year. O'Dwyer and Williams in that offensive line. Adrian Morrell just a few yards shy of 600 already. Richie Anderson, Keyshawn Johnson, and Jeff Graham outside, and big tight end is Kyle Brady. They come out throwing. It's Wayne Trebek, and Trebek gets the first down out to the 36-yard line. Trebek, who again leads the Jets in receiving. That's his 27th catch this year. Here are the Dolphins defensively. Trace Armstrong, the only player on defense 30 years old or older. Bowens Gardner, the rookie from Akron, Jason Tyler. Anthony Harris, Zach Thomas back at full strength. Derek Rogers, the rookie. Buckley and Jackson are short at corners, only 5'9", and Wooden and Harris are the safeties. Brady, the tight end, way out to the right. And Morrell gets the handoff going the other way to the 39-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
Well, we looked at this Jet offense in the first two plays today. We can kind of see what their game plan is already, to give the Dolphins a lot of different looks. They don't like to make adjustments. Try to get some advantages and take advantage of the Dolphin defense.
Dolphins defense, they must stop the run. They have to, because they know it's crucial. If the Jets can run the ball, that means they can run play action passes and really get hurt deep on some bombs.
2nd down and 7. A delay in the give to Morrell, and Morrell again trying that left side, plows to the 42, where it'll be 3rd down and about 4.
Isn't it interesting talking to Zach Thomas yesterday, though? He said the one thing about the Jets, if they run from tackle out to tackles, he can get there, so he can cut off the plays. The thing that bothers him the most is something the Jets didn't do in the first 2 runs, is when they run straight at him.
Well, he doesn't like those blockers, especially those big linemen coming right at him, because he's not a big guy, so they have a tendency to get into him, and he can't get away and make the tackles. He's a runner.
He doesn't like what we just saw coming out on 3rd down. He told us that. Baxter, the tight end, in motion. The throw downfield, incomplete to Jeff Graham. O'Donnell And the Jets offense leave the field as the punting unit comes on. Ryan Hansen, the kicker for the Jets, averaging at 45 on this young season. To return for Miami, Charles Jordan, former Raider. He stands at the 16. Booming spiral, chasing Jordan inside his 10. He fields it at the 9 and is tackled at the 14. Marcus Coleman with a hit, 49-yard punt. It'll be Dan Marino and Miami on offense when we come back.
50 yards on the punt.
Dan Marino, his 205th game quarterbacking the Miami Dolphins, second only to John Elway in games 1 in NFL history. Starts from inside his 15 and hands off to Jabbar as promised. And Jabbar may have fumbled, and they say no, ruled down by contact at the 18-yard line.
Well, Miami told us they're going to try and run the football at the beginning of this game. Here's Jabbar. No, he's down. His knees hit, then the ball comes out. Very good call by the official.
Spot at the 18, a gain of 4 for Jabbar, who's averaging only 2.6 yards a carry. That's not going to get the job done. Dolphins last in the league in rushing. Play action. Dump off incomplete. Intended for the running back. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar circled out of the backfield.
Broken up by Marvin Jones.
Marvin Jones there, and here's the Miami offensive line. Webb, Bucky, and then Bach, McIver, and Brown are all ex-Jets. Jets that played on those losing teams the last couple of years. Marino with Abdul-Jabbar and Parmalee, another halfback, but playing at fullback. McDuffie, the top receiver. Lamar Thomas, who played for Johnson, was recruited by him at Miami. And the tight end is Troy Drayton. 3rd down and 6. Dolphins struggling on their opening drive all season long. The throw incomplete. Lamar Thomas, the closest white jersey. 3 and out for Marino. Well, you can sense it, Phil, even in the crowd here at the Meadowlands. There's a sense of belief now. They're not cheering with hope. They're starting to believe this is a pretty good team.
Well, they should believe. A lot of positive signs for the Jets. One of them we just saw. 3rd down, this defense has turned it around because they have been very good at stopping 3rd and 5 and 6 situations where they get the other team's offense off the field.
John Kidd, who was riding his Harley last weekend, had been cut and just does get this one away. Leon Johnson will let it bounce, a big bounce, then gambles at the 29 and is tackled at the 32. So the Jets have it back. 11 minutes 47 seconds remaining in the opening quarter.
This is the NFL on NBC.
Hi, welcome back to the Meadowlands. I'm James Lofton. With so much talk about the quarterbacks, Marino and O'Donnell, everyone forgets about the centers, and those are the guys who are really under the gun today. For the Jets, J.R. Conrad has to step in for Roger Duffy. They have to make all the calls, communicate, tell the defenses they have the big job. Phil Simms, you have it easy now.
That's right. That center's important.
O'Donnell hit from behind and sacked at the 29-yard line. Tim Bowens and Darrell Gardner, the 2 big men inside for Miami, sacked O'Donnell.
This is so easy. I'll do this replay. You know why? It's
Why?
coverage sack. It is.
It really
There
is.
is no place for O'Donnell to throw the ball. Just watch O'Donnell and the amount of time that he has to look downfield. Now, Bowens, number 95, is eventually going to go around the block, come back in, and make the tackle. That's a coverage sack.
Bowen's 3rd sack of the season. He leads Miami. 315-pounder from Mississippi. 2nd and 13 down the field. And Crabett at the 30, 20, and Crabett is to the 1-yard line. 70 yards on a strike from O'Donnell.
Watch what happens. Wayne Crabett goes down the middle of the field, in between the safety and the corner. It's a zone defense by the Dolphins. Nobody has that inside receiver when they go deep. Good game planning by the New York Jets. Took advantage of the defense of the Dolphins.
You know, when you first see it, you wonder, what is O'Donnell doing throwing into four-man coverage on one side?
Johnson, and he scores. Johnson, the rookie from North Carolina, his first NFL touchdown.
You know what's great about that play, though, Phil, is the fact that O'Donnell gets sacked, and then he's got the confidence which you have to have in your offensive line to stay with him and go back and throw a deep ball.
They set that play up with the formations before that play. They saw that, and they came to it. That's why it was there, and that's why it worked.
John Hall, the rookie from Wisconsin, adds the extra point. O'Donnell's 70-yard pass to Crabett, by far the longest of this season for O'Donnell. His previous high, 47 yards.
Well, Wayne Crabett, as Bill Parcells said, that this underdog thing, it's over. This guy is just a good player. He said the most productive guy on our offense. He goes right down the middle of the seam. Nobody has that inside receiver on a zone defense sometimes. And Terrell Buckley's got to see the inside receiver. Didn't come off quick enough.
Here's the touchdown that you wanted to see. This is Johnson, number 32, but look at the hole in the middle. He's not even touched until he's 2 yards inside the end zone. That's easy.
So the Jets strike quickly here with 4.5 minutes gone in the opening quarter. And this crowd loves it.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought Crabett was a third down receiver.
He is one of the better
that was second down
receivers. Wears that number 80 because his idol was number 80, Steve Largent of Seattle. He, on third downs, has 14 catches for first downs this year, among the leaders in the league.
I'd go to on second down, too, now.
Yeah, maybe even first down. John Hall, who leads the league in touchbacks, doesn't get this one into the end zone. It's to Irving Spikes. And Spikes hit at the 20, goes forward to the 22-yard line. Dwayne Gordon from the University of New Hampshire with a hit. Let's go down to James Lofton.
Thank you, Dick. Now, you may think that Terrell Buckley was the guy who was in trouble on that play, but when he's coming off the field, he's saying, it's a safety, it's a safety. It was Corey Harris who didn't get back in his zone coverage.
Terrell Buckley, who has found it very comfortable in Miami after struggling a bit in Green Bay after being a #1 pick of the Packers in '92. Well, Dan Marino starts down 7-0. Gives to Jabbar. And look at Irving Spikes. Jimmy Johnson said he wanted to give Spikes more chances to run. He's very short but powerful at 205 on a 5'8 frame. Man from Northeast Louisiana who's rushed for only 79 yards this year.
Phil Simmons, when you're the coach and you tell us in a meeting we're going to run the ball, we think we can, we're going to try to run the ball. You come out the first 3 times you run the ball, you get nothing. Where do you go?
You got to show some patience in this running game. You got to keep going at them. The Jets, Bill Parcells worries every single week that his front 7 on defense is going to be overpowered.
2nd and 8. It Spikes again. He's to the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 6. Let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, Dick, the question is, will Drew Bledsoe and the Patriots bounce back from that loss Monday night? 20 yards to Ben Coates for the touchdown with the extra point. It's a 7-0 lead over the Buffalo Bills. Dick?
Oh, the Patriots and the Jets strike quickly in the opening quarter. 3rd down, 6. Marino complete to Thomas. First down on a 10-yard play to the 35.
This is what happens, Phil, when you get stuck into a blitz. You got a blitz called. Marino reads it, and he has Thomas coming across the middle. He's got one-on-one coverage.
Boy, it was a good job by the offensive line picking up the blitz, and Lamar Thomas got a little speed, likes to make plays, matched up against Otis Smith. That's the guy they want to pick on. Otis Smith, if one thing he lacks, he doesn't have that great speed at corner. Good job by Dan Marino finding the open guy.
Thomas, who picked got 3 receptions a week ago in the Kansas City game and has earned a starting job. Spikes. Too many green jerseys. Maybe a yard gain. Marvin Jones led the charge.
Dick, didn't you like Jimmy Johnson yesterday talking about, well, are you going to throw over on the side, Barrett's land? He said, well, why would we want to?
That's a great point, because so many people, Paul, we always laugh at this and say, well, we're going to attack their strength. And what for? Why would you want to attack the strength?
They say, well, if we beat the strength, see, then we have them. But how about the weakness? Why don't you go to the weak side?
That's right.
And that's spelling Otis Smith getting a lot of work today. 2nd and 9. Marino guns to the tight end, Troy Drayton. Forward progress to the 40. That'll bring up 3rd and 5. Trying to use the tight end more. And Drayton is a huge target at 6'3" and 265. Interesting, in this game, we have 2 tight ends from Penn State. They were on the same team for Joe Paterno. Kyle Brady was 2 years behind Drayton.
Well, Mo Lewis takes Drayton's helmet off. Watch this. Mo Lewis going to come in number 57, and he ends up with a helmet.
3rd down and 5 from Marino at his own 40. Give it to Spikes, hit in the backfield. Chad Cascadden from Wisconsin. On 3rd down, he submarined and made the play.
Chaz Cascade, number 53. He's kind of like the do-all for the Jets. He's at the top of the screen. He comes in, has some speed, not a big guy, but that's all right there. All speed, just getting around as the offensive tackle and just making the play.
Well, James Brown goes out to block him, but James Brown's waiting for him to make a pass rush to the outside, and Cascade just goes underneath him. What a super play.
So John Kidd on to punt on 4th and 6. Leon Johnson inside the Jets 15. End over end and short. Big bounce. Big bounce. Johnson flirted with it. He may have touched it. If he did, it's Miami's ball. It's covered by Anthony Harris, the linebacker, but they say it did not. Harris thought he had a recovery, a 44-yard punt.
Boy, it looked like he touched it from up here, but
here it comes right here. Just watch his hand. It looks like he reached. No, he doesn't. The official is there. That's a good call because he doesn't. But what he's supposed to be is away from that ball. Just get out of there.
That's what makes coaches nervous. Those rookies. Big day of sports for South Florida right after the game here at the Meadowlands. We'll be switching you to Game 5 of the National League Series, tied 2 games each. From the 7, O'Donnell sets up 2 tight ends, gives to Morrell, and Morrell wrestled down after a yard gain by Baron Tanner. Let's go back to the touchdown. What did you see, Phil?
Well, let's look at that big play. Wayne Corbett here in the slot goes up. Here's Terrell Buckley. Now, when the inside receiver, number 2, even though he has to go outside, comes vertical, he's got to play in between the 2 receivers. He gets caught staying outside just a little too much, and it's too late before he gets inside. The safety deep in the middle of the field really can't get over there to help because it's 3 receivers to the right side.
2nd down. A long 8 as Morrell protecting the ball. Right into the arms of middle backer Zach Thomas at the 10-yard line.
I'll tell you what, you got to love this guy. Zach Thomas, I mean, he sits back about 4 yards off the line of scrimmage, and watch what he does. As soon as he reads run, watch this reaction. Up into the hole, he explodes now and makes the tackle. That's head up, straight up, and that's good.
Yeah, but he has a weakness. Zach Thomas has a weakness, and he revealed it to us yesterday. He can't tie a tie.
Yeah.
That's about it.
They can't get one to go around his neck.
That's right. He's only got 2 of them, he said. And I think we ought to start a campaign, send old Zach some, pre-tied ties.
Clip on there.
3rd down, 6 down the middle. Open is Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson. 1st down at the 31. 21 yards on the play. Buckley and Teague make the tackle.
When you're going to play zone on defense, what you're expecting, the Jets do a good job first just picking up the movement by the Dolphins. Jason Taylor moving around. The Jets do a good job picking it up. But when you play zone behind with a defense, you got to get to the passer pretty quick. Keyshawn Johnson just works across the field, finally finds that open spot. Neil O'Donnell all that time finds him.
On 1st down, Morrell hit in the backfield, breaks a tackle. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. No gain. Shane Burton and others to make the tackle. Keyshawn Johnson, in the eyes of many since he was the very first player picked a year ago, has been a disappointment. 15 catches in the first 3 games, only 6 receptions in the last 3.
Well, Bill Parcells, you know, he told us yesterday there's just so much to live up to when you're the first pick of a draft. And, you know, I don't know if he can ever live up to the expectations everybody has of him.
2nd down and 10. Into the flat to Baxter, the tight end. Wrapped up immediately by Derek Rogers, the rookie from Arizona State.
But Keyshawn, he's a big guy. I think that a lot of people confuse size is going to make you a really good player in this league. At wide receiver, we met him. He's about 6'4", 6'5". Sometimes size can be a hindrance, and it does kind of hinder him out. So there's certain things he cannot do.
What can't he do?
Well, when you're that tall and that big, you can't be extremely quick, so that's going to hurt him on some routes he runs. But coach knows that. Keyshawn understands that. He's working hard, and they're going to find a way to use this guy to make him, I think, the best wide receiver he can.
Parcells did mention he's a work ethic, no question there. He's stayed after practice trying to get better. 3rd down and 3. And a big hole for Johnson. And he has a first down at the Miami 42. George Teague finally got him out of bounds. 20 yards for Johnson.
Well, the reason this thing works is because the Miami Dolphins sell out to the inside.
Well, and Paul, look at this. You got 3 guys over here. They just ran a pass play out of it. The Dolphins are thinking Wayne Corbett just having the crackdown block was good. Dolphins are thinking pass. It's a run to the right. They just caught off guard.
They call Leon Johnson the natural. He can do everything. In fact, he can even throw the ball. We might see that halfback pass before the season's out. High school quarterback. O'Donnell, he's the throw. And throws it away. Follow the NFL season, fans, online at NBCSports.com. This week we break down the coaching rivalry between Parcells and Johnson, compare the similar paths that their careers have taken. Plus, our weekly poll asks, who's the best running back in the league right now? It's all at NBCSports.com. I know you've already got your vote in, Paul.
Crazy Leg McGuire.
There you go.
Yeah.
How about Terrell Davis? Isn't too bad, is he? Out of Denver.
2nd down and 10. O'Donnell. Protection breaks down. Good throw on the run to Baxter, and the tight end takes it out of bounds at the 35-yard line, and flags go down.
I'll tell you what. Now, I don't know if this flag is going to be on O'Dwyer or Bowens.
Against the Jets.
Then it's on O'Dwyer, number 70, because he is hitting someone from the Miami Dolphins defensive line while he's on the ground. All right, this is at the end of the play. Here it is right here. Now, you see this? He goes over and pushes.
Oh, man. It looks like World Wrestling there, falling back.
Well, I'll tell you the good thing. It's a good thing that Tim Bowens missed on his swing.
So Jason Taylor, though, number 99, he's act like a veteran with that move falling down.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 70 of the offense, 15 yards. Repeat, 2nd down.
Bill Parcells can't be too pleased with that one. It was out in the open where everyone could see it.
Well, sometimes, though, even a coach has to go, wow, you know, even though it was kind of stupid to push the guy, it did not deserve a penalty.
You know what I don't understand is why did they repeat 2nd down? Because this play was already over with. The man was out of bounds. The play was over with when the flag is thrown. So this is after the play.
It is 2nd down and 25 back at the Jets 43. Corbett in the slot, the handoff in the backfield to Anderson, and Richie Anderson gets to the 48-yard line, a gain of 5. James?
Parcells will tell you that he's had a lot of aggressive offensive linemen in his days, but Matt O'Dwyer is somebody who he actually has to calm down a little bit. You know, he gets him in a room and count to 10 very slowly so you don't lose your temper, Matt.
Oh,
That'd be tough with Phil. You know, he never get to 10.
Boy, that's mean.
He's after you today.
He's after me today. That's good.
He's good. Well, that's because you're home. You played in this field.
3rd down, 21. Shotgun O'Donnell.
Blitz.
Chase him out of the cup, and now he has to throw it away. So Miami will force the Jets to punt. The penalty very critical in that possession, as you see just a bit more than a minute left in this opening quarter.
You know, I'll tell you what, one thing though, the Jets did pick up that blitz because they had everybody coming, and it was picked up. O'Donnell still could get to the outside.
Yeah, they picked it up, and Neil O'Donnell really had plenty of time to stand in the pocket, look down the field, and really should have taken a chance and tried to make something happen down the field, but he panicked on the blitz.
Close to being blocked is Hanson's punt. Fair catch by Charles Jordan. Miami and Marino will have it at their 19, down 7-0.
You know, some people wait a while to get even. Watch Matt O'Dwyer again on Jason Taylor. It's the same two guys again, but watch what O'Dwyer does. Now he goes down, knocks him from the back. Look at Jason. He goes back and hits him in the head.
Oh, he picked on even a bigger guy than the rookie. Yeah, went after the 315-pounder. He is getting mad. First down at the 19. 7-0 Jets. Final minute, opening quarter. Pass complete to Parmalee. And Bernie Parmalee out to the 39-yard line and a first down. Let's go to New York for this update.
All right, Dick, this word from the National League Championship Series. Marlins pitcher Kevin Brown will not start for Florida in Game 5 against Atlanta today. He's still bothered by a viral infection. Levon Hernandez will start in his place. Brown is now slated to start Game 6. We'll have more coming up at halftime. Dick?
All right, Greg, going against Greg Maddux of the Braves in Game 5. 20 yards on that last pass play. Marino to Parmalee. Screen it. Abdul-Jabbar to the 46-yard line. A gain of 7 more. Final seconds of the first quarter. The big play. O'Donnell to Quebec, 70 yards to set up the touchdown. Leon Johnson from a yard out. Miami 7. Check the Jets 7. Miami nothing. Snoopy 1 providing a bird's eye view of today's NFL action. Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 provided television coverage of over 70 sporting events this year. Look to the skies for Snoopy and the MetLife blimp. Oh yeah, October. That's the weatherman's answer to the heat of summer and the freeze of winter. How great it is to play this game this month. Give to Abdul-Jabbar, and he's to midfield, and a first down right at the 50-yard line. Well, Jimmy Johnson wants desperately to generate some running offense, but look what's happened in the last 4 seasons, with each year decreasing productivity on the ground. Now last in the league in rushing yards per game and averaging under 2.9 per rush.
Well, he took over a team that loved to throw the ball, so you got offensive linemen that are good pass protectors, but they're not real aggressive, so that doesn't make them good run blockers. That's one problem.
Parmalee and Abdul-Jabbar behind Marino, who throws complete underneath as he goes to his tight end. No, it was Parmalee that slipped out of the backfield. Pepper Johnson made the defensive play. Heaviest offensive lines, and it's almost commonplace now to average 300 yards up front. Miami, one of the biggest offensive lines in the league.
It's not helping the running game, though. No, so it's got to be more than just big to be good in this league.
2nd and 4. Abdul-Jabbar straightened up shy of the first down at the 42 of the Jets. Marvin Jones with a hit.
See, this Miami offense is fullback oriented. And when they lose Stanley Pritchett and he's out of there, he was their blocking back on passes and runs. He was a guy coming out of the backfield catching passes. And now you make a halfback your fullback, which is Bernie Parmalee. He got some problems.
Well, and also the Dolphins have not been patient enough with their running game, so you can't expect to just have success if you do it 10 or 15 times a game. Got to stay with it.
On 3rd and 2, Abdul-Jabbar close to a first down, but he's being marked down shy of the 40, so that won't be enough. Aaron Glenn, one of those helping from the secondary on the
go Jimmy Johnson, go. Why not bring in another tight end, Ed Perry?
Well, why not? I mean, Jimmy said yes in Bill Parcells' words about it. If you can't overpower the Jets front, defensive front, with your running game, then you really are in trouble. So he knows that. This is the time you go for it when you're playing a team when you think you can run the football on them.
Go with two tight ends, Drayton and Perry. Perry, the rookie from James Madison. Abdul-Jabbar fights to the 35 and has the first down. 6 on the play. Otis Smith able to make the tackle.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, if he gets by one more man, which is Otis Smith, there's a touchdown because everybody is jammed up on the line of scrimmage, all 11 guys. And watch Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Once he gets through here, if he can maintain his balance, there's the last man, Otis Smith, 45, that makes the tackle.
Boy, Drayton threw a terrific block on Mo Lewis. Abdul-Jabbar, who played on the same high school team with Keyshawn Johnson and Lamont Warren of the Colts. L.A. Dorsey High, Southern California. Fakes Abdul-Jabbar. Marino's going to throw it over. He's wide open. No one picked him up. It's going to be a Miami touchdown.
Was that scary?
36-yard play as Marino fakes to Abdul-Jabbar, who slips into the flat, and the Jets, with a breakdown defensively, leave him wide open.
Well, they catch the Jets in man coverage. Here's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He goes out here. Watch the corner and the safeties. They go with the play action and with the man they're covering. They get caught up. The inside linebacker looks like Pepper Johnson. Doesn't go with his man. Wide open, easy touchdown.
Boy, that's like a half bootleg. I mean, Marino fakes to him and he just stops, pulls up, and sees him.
Made to the extra point. And it's tied at 7. So 2 big plays. O'Donnell 70 yards to Quebec, and now a 36-yard touchdown. Marino to Abdul-Jabbar. We're tied at 7. Marino's 5th touchdown throw of the season. He's made his last 6 passes completed. And it's 7-all. Made's kick spins short. Leon Johnson at the 7. Johnson to the 23-yard line. Tackled by O.J. Brigance.
Let's just take a look one more time. Pepper Johnson has Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who runs out here. Watch Pepper. He's really not fooled by the play, but I think what gets him maybe. Hey, Dan Marino rolling out of pocket. He goes, oh, wait, I'm going to go back and help somebody. But it's too late.
But he played that very well.
He had it perfect.
Half of the play.
Right.
The other half he didn't play too well.
You know, that's something new we've seen from the Miami Dolphins. Some play action and moving Dan Marino around. Just because he's not fast doesn't he can't move around well enough to make some throws outside the pocket.
O'Donnell on first down to the sidelines and complete to Jeff Graham. And the veteran from Ohio State has his 14th reception of the year. 13 yards on the play.
Well, that's a good job. Something you do not see a lot of anymore. But if you're going to play the Dolphins, you need to throw the ball outside. Jeff Graham, a speed cut. Going against Sam Madison, a rookie. Good throw by Neil O'Donnell.
Jimmy Johnson said he wants to give Sam Madison some action. He injured his ankle, had surgery 9 weeks ago. Finally seeing some duty. He's the number 2 draft pick out of Louisville, number 29 on the right corner. And they go for it again, and this time short as he skips it to Graham.
Tell you one thing I really am impressed with is you know, in the first few games that Mr. Neil O'Donnell was sacked 15 times, and then this offensive line, I'll tell you where they are protecting him when you look at him, the guys in the center. Those 5 guys, especially the 2 guards in the center, which is the new center, Conrad, are really doing a great job up front.
See the former Giant Jumbo Elliott at tackle, and Conrad, who has not been over center since a sophomore year at Oklahoma. O'Donnell running into the umpire and a couple of Miami Dolphins, and it's Trace Armstrong and Jason Taylor who make the tackle. It's not a sack. He gained a couple.
Well, they force him from the outside inside, so Neil O'Donnell, when he runs up, but the umpire is the guy saying, what am I doing here? Watch Neil O'Donnell. Here's the umpire. I don't know. Get out of here.
There are a lot of jobs in this life that you don't want, and that's one.
That's right.
Umpire. No wonder there aren't more of them seriously injured. 3rd down and a long 7. Open is Johnson, and Keyshawn Johnson, another big play to the Miami 40. Sean Wooden made the tackle.
This is where I think Keyshawn Johnson can be so valuable. He's such a big receiver, long arms. You can throw the ball just about anywhere, and he has a chance to catch it. It's 5 wide receivers over the middle. It's not a great throw. Keyshawn snags it with his hands, something he doesn't like to do, likes to catch it against his body. But once he catches it, the big man can rumble forward.
21 yards on the play. Inside handoff to Morrell, and thus far the Dolphins have done a good job in checking Morrell, who started the day with 591 yards rushing, one of the leaders in the NFL. Say, what a weekend we have for you next week on NBC. Now Saturday starts at 1 o'clock Eastern. Michael Jordan and the Bulls competing in the McDonald's Championship from Paris. So you get Jordan and the Bulls first. Then one of the great rivalries in college football, the University of Southern California against Notre Dame. Then the World Series opener in prime time. That's all next Saturday on NBC. Anderson this time running through tackles, fumbled the ball, but they're ruling the play down. That is not a fumble, much to the dismay of Corey Harris, who's taking it the other way. It's a 19-yard run by Richie Anderson. Come on back this way, says Bill Parcells. We got a first down.
Watch Kyle Brady from the top of your screen. He usually runs sweeps out of this look. Neil O'Donnell reverse pivots, and then you kind of lose sight of the ball. And there comes Richie Anderson on the inside with the handoff. Nice blocking up front.
Ooh, I think that was a fumble. From that angle, looked like that ball was out.
Okay, just the thing about it is, are you down? Is the knee down?
He's lost control
He
of it
lost
on the way
control
down.
of the ball.
Yes.
That could have been a Miami touchdown. They weren't going to catch Corey Harris.
See, that ball is coming out, and all you have to do is look at his left knee. And when you see Anderson's left knee is not on the ground, the ball comes out, it's a fumble.
O'Donnell. There's a holding penalty, and he throws incomplete to Graham. It was O'Dwyer that put a hammerlock on the Miami defender, and that'll be 10 yards.
You know, to me, it just seems almost impossible to really hold bones.
Yeah,
so you're not going to get your arms around bones.
Holding. Number 70. 10 yards. Repeat first down.
Well, Jimmy is still mad about the fumble, which should have been. But look at here, number 70. Now he's going to grab a hold. He's just trying to save his quarterback.
Well, the quarterback leaves the pocket and goes outside. The offensive lineman does not know that.
When you were seeing Jimmy a little while ago, seeing Jimmy Johnson mad, this is what he was mad at, because he could see it on the scoreboard that the ball is coming out.
Well, you shouldn't watch those replays. This makes you mad.
Well, he wanted the official to watch. Second down. Morrell just arm tackle away from breaking that one from longer yardage, but Dunstan Anderson from Tulsa able to wrap him up.
Well, the one thing you see when you watch this Miami Dolphin defense, and it's not big, they got two big guys inside, Tim Bowens, Daryl Gardner, but the rest of them skinny, small, you know, no size, but they are fast, and that's how they play. I mean, they just create havoc for your blocking assignments. George Hill, the defensive coordinator, he just lets these guys with speed run around, and it's hard to block them.
Second down and 16. O'Donnell. Incomplete to Corbett. A little too tall for the 5'10 receiver from Hofstra, where the Jets have their training center.
Let me ask you a question. Now you're looking at Neil O'Donnell, and bodies are flying around. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing Wayne Corbett wide open over the middle, and he knows it. Wayne Corbett is always open over the middle. Everybody says, when we talk to him the night before the games, the coaches, we're not going to let Corbett catch the ball. Okay, it's a good thought, but it just doesn't work, because you can't really double cover somebody that has the options that he does. He can go inside, outside, across the field, up the field, so he's a hard guy to cover.
Oh, Mr. Third Down's in the slot.
Shotgun for O'Donnell. And it's caught by Graham, and a first down inside the 10 at the 7-yard line. 21 yards on the play.
Paul, that is a really excellent job by Neil O'Donnell. The Jets linemen, what they do. The Dolphins do not blitz too often. They'll probably stop after this, but it's picked up. He sees the route up to the top of the field. Watch the pickup by the Jets. He looks up top. Single coverage, way off. Good job by Neil O'Donnell.
The inside guy makes it work, because that was the one that went down to the 1-yard line with Corbett, and everybody went to the guy in the slot.
First and goal. Morrell. They force him wide, and he takes a yard loss back to the 8-yard line. Sean Wooden from his strong safety position, former Notre Damer. able to make the play, and he is the leading tackler for the Dolphins this year, and also has a couple of interceptions. He was pointed out by Jimmy Johnson as one of his top performers on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, that's a good example about that Dolphin defense. Zach Thomas, the heart of their defense, which everybody says, you go wide, their speed, those guys are going to run out there, and it's hard to get plus yardage against
the guy that was out there was Zach Thomas.
That's right.
Looking for Corbett. Lobs it for Corbett. Too long. And Madison was back to cover for Miami. So it'll be 3rd and goal from just inside the 8-yard line as Jimmy Johnson sends in 4 defensive replacements. Now 5.
And here comes Zach off the field. What did he say? I hate being taken off the field in those 3rd downs. It gets me out of rhythm. And he says, and I get tired. You know, just run. Let's go ahead.
He got tired running off down the field. He said when he got hurt, he broke his leg in the game in Mexico. He was on special teams. He said, that's why I'm on special teams. I like to be on the field. I want to be hitting somebody.
3rd and goal. That's Baxter in motion. Over the middle. Touchdown by Johnson. One-handed catch. I think he took it away from Corbett. Corbett was deeper in the end zone, and Johnson went up and speared it.
I'm going to tell you something, and it's a good thing Johnson did it because this ball might have been intercepted. Corbett had 4 guys on him in the back of the end zone.
Well, there's a couple things to watch. Here's Keyshawn Johnson. He's just going to go across. Wayne Corbett from the top of your screen is going to go behind. The Dolphins really do a pretty good job of defending it. They fall off. Keyshawn makes a heck of a catch.
Hall adds the extra point. It's 14-7. Keyshawn Johnson's 3rd touchdown catch of the season. Look at this play. Corbett thought it was his ball. No. One-hander by Keyshawn. What an athletic play.
Watch Keyshawn Johnson going across. Wayne Corbett's going to go to the back of the end zone. Neil O'Donnell, I'm pretty sure, is throwing this ball. He looks right all the way. It's throwing it for Wayne Corbett. Keyshawn, one hand, sticks it up. Look at that right hand going up in the air. He stays after practice every day. We saw it when we were at practice, just catching the balls with his hands. See, it pays off sometimes, all that work.
He had the bad habit of using his chest and his hands and was dropping a lot of balls. Corey Harris comes out to the 25-yard line, and Miami begins there, down 14-7 with just under 7 minutes left in the opening half. But your Keyshawn Johnson, this is the one you want a photo of and you put up on your wall. Look at this one-handed catch.
Fingertips on the nose of the ball.
Poetic. 14-7. The Jets lead it. Miami goes to work from the 25, and Irving spikes, breaking tackles to pick up 4 yards. Bobby Hamilton made the stop. Let's go to James Lofton.
Thanks, Dick. Now, Keyshawn Johnson has been criticized for dropping his share of passes, but it's a catch like that that will really elevate him to the game that he has talked about playing. So, you know, that may not be routine, but he would call it routine in his book.
Well, he's off to a good start. 3 catches in this opening half for 49 yards and a score. 2nd down, 6. Marino. Spikes. Oh, a swarming defense. The Jets allow only a couple of yards. 3rd down and 6. Backup line in there. They've got Hamilton, Terry, and Ferguson, the 3 reserves, as Bill Parcells gives his starters a breather. Bill Belichick, the defensive coordinator, former Cleveland Browns coach, and of course the coordinator with Parcells in the glory years with the Giants.
Tell you, that may be Spike's toughest 2 yards he's ever made. He got hit by almost everybody on the defense.
3rd down and 3. Jets 2-1 in yardage in this half. Marino changing his play out of the shotgun. And movement by Everett McIver, the guard.
Ball start, number 66. 5 yards. It's still 3rd down.
Well, it was just taking too long. Dan Marino's checking the play off, and if you're a lineman, you see everybody jumping around, and you got to be saying, well, when is he going to snap this ball? And checking off the defensive lineman jumping around, it has to make an offensive lineman get a little antsy.
You know what's amazing, though, Phil, is you take 2 running plays, and you guys are breaking their hearts out trying to get a few yards, and in one movement they lose it all.
Greasy with 122 without an interception 20 years ago. Marino 4 away from hitting 100 without a pick. Third down. Rifles this one. Is it caught? Yes, they're ruling it a catch by Lamar Thomas. Shoestringer as he makes the slide in the first down.
Well, this is the one thing that Jimmy Johnson said at the beginning when people were down on Dan Marino in the first couple of games. He didn't do this. He didn't move around, and he didn't step up in the pocket. And now he's stepping up and he's throwing the ball with authority.
Lamar Thomas is a solid target. He looks taller than 6'1". Makes that catch just off the top of the turf. And Parcells going after
the safety.
Coleman, right?
Where were you? He's asking.
Take the spikes. And he throws it away. Flag down in the secondary. And Marino thinks he's got a hold against the Jets.
Well, Fred Barnett, number 80, is complaining that he got held. Now, let me just tell you something about pass interference. First of all, this ball's
number 45 of the defense, 5 yards, automatic first down.
All right, this is Otis Smith, but the difference is here. Dan Marino is throwing the ball away and it's not catchable. But see, this is holding. This has nothing to do with pass interference. You are not allowed to hold the receiver going downfield. So it's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down. It's an excellent call.
Well, yeah, he passed 5 yards. He held him toward the jersey, and he was hitting him 10 yards down the field. You're right, Paul. He did everything
15-yarder.
That's right.
First down at the Miami 48 with 4:24 left in the half. Miami trailing 14-7. Marino's thrown 7 in a row complete. Incomplete this time as Smith with good coverage on Fred Barnett.
Well, Otis Smith, everybody likes to try going deep on Otis Smith, number 45. Fred Barnett, he doesn't have blazing speed either anymore, and it's a good job by Otis Smith seeing the ball and knocking it down.
Look at Otis Smith, though. What Otis Smith was doing as he was running down the field, he's looking at Fred Barnett. He's looking at his eyes. And as soon as he sees his eyes get big, knowing the ball's coming, he just makes the turn.
And Barnett couldn't separate himself from the cornerback. 2nd and 10. Marino fires deep, and he has a man open. Incomplete to Thomas. Lamar Thomas trying to adjust to the throw, but he had beaten his man.
Lamar Thomas sat down with us last night in a meeting, and he says, I'll tell you what I like. Just throw it up there. If I'm covered, I tell the quarterback, just throw it up there. I'm going to go get it. There it is.
James?
Dick, they picked the wrong side of the field to go deep on. That's where the sun is coming from. They've thrown deep twice that side, and every receiver has a list of excuses as to why you missed the ball. And the number one, the sun was in my eyes. Well, they're telling the truth that time.
We're not buying it, James.
Yeah, that's right.
3rd down and 10. Down the middle. The catch, and what a catch it was. O.J. McDuffie, his first reception of the game for 26 yards. That's 100 straight passes without an interception, and Marino threw it into coverage.
Well, nobody is fooled. Aaron Glenn is going up the field vertical with O.J. McDuffie. He turns, knowing that Miami loves to throw those balls. Marino, he loves to throw it to the back shoulder of the receiver. He just can't go up and make the play.
We've just seen 2 catches. One on Keyshawn on one end, O.J. McDuffie on this side. 2 catches that you wait a whole year to see.
Yeah, those are highlight plays. First down, trailing 14-7. 3.5 minutes remaining before the intermission. Marino underneath. Complete to Parmalee. And the former star at Ball State picks up some 5 or 6 yards on first down. Dwayne Gordon, the middle linebacker in there for Pepper Johnson, made the tackle. That's 101 now for Marino without an interception, as you see that updated. Currently the longest streak without being picked in the NFL, but far short of any all-time record.
I can see why, though. If you watch the Dolphins play, and Dan Marino, when he drops back, it's almost impossible to get to him. So he gets to see down the field and make some pretty good decisions before he lets the ball go.
2nd and 5. The throw to Thomas. Touchdown. Lamar Thomas his first touchdown of this season. He had one a year ago.
Hey, James Lofton, they heard you. Back to this side of the field, James.
They're on the shaded side of the field. It makes it real easy when you do it that way.
Well, Lamar Thomas against Otis Smith. Good move at the line of scrimmage. That did it all. Separation. Dan Marino's hit 100 of those in his career. And once you get by the defender on these type of routes, he's going to lay it in there. Lamar Thomas, good job off the line.
Dick, that's number 66 against this team. 66 touchdowns he's thrown against the Jets.
He has feasted on the Jets secondary through his great career. In fact, the last 4 games, he's had at least 3 touchdown passes. He already has 2 today.
Watch Lamar Thomas, number 85. Here's where the whole success. That first move, he makes Otis Smith stumble. Most receivers, when they get in that situation, they just take off. The defensive back runs with them and they're covered. It's an excellent job by Lamar Thomas.
Aaron Glenn with a kickoff return, one of the best in the league. In fact, has the best average, over 31 yards a return. He's out to the 31, 32. Maybe a couple of pros. O'Donnell to throw. And Jeff Graham with a short yardage at the 36-yard line. 2.5 minutes now left in this first half. It's tied at 14 as Marino hit Lamar Thomas 22 yards for that last touchdown.
You know, you talk about Marino. Just one quick thing. I remember yesterday in the meeting, Dick Enberg was going to say, now, about which one of your records do you really like? And when Dick got done rattling them off, it's 20 minutes later.
Yeah.
He's got every record there is.
Well, how about the media guide for the Miami Dolphins? What does he have? He's got something like 37 pages. Graham again. No catch. Terrell Buckley on the coverage.
You get a feeling they're setting something up over there?
No.
Philip? No.
No. You know what they're doing?
Short outs.
When you play this Miami Dolphin defense, and Bill Parcells talked about it to us yesterday, they want you to throw the ball outside. They force you. They keep most of their defensive players inside the box from tackle to tackle, and they'll single up the wide receivers. That's why you see the Jets throwing the ball to the sidelines.
Got 4 wide receivers in with Prevent in the slot. He goes over the middle. O'Donnell can't find him. And he runs into some Dolphins, and a sack at the 27 for Jason Taylor, his second of the season. The young man, just 23 years old, the rookie from Akron. The 2-minute timeout. And we welcome you back. It's tied at 14. 2 minutes left in this first half. Had a chance to ride into the stadium. He gets here blindfolded. He knows the way. And in this weather, I had the sense that he was going to just get out and hit me or somebody. He wanted to play.
You know, the problem with us, he went to the Jets camp, and they allowed him during the course of the week to throw some balls to Keyshawn Johnson.
Right.
And he really thinks he can still play. As old as he is, he thinks he can still play.
Well, when I sit next to you, I always got these great ambitions. You know, I figured, well, you know,
if I could announce you could play,
well,
is that what you're going to say?
I figured if you were an ex-player that I should still be able to play.
Ryan Hansen to punt. And Miami's going to get a chance to take the lead before that. Very close to blocking that one. They put the pressure on, and here's Charles Jordan. Flag is down at the other end, and Jordan knocked backwards by his own blocker. And the flag thrown at the spot where Hansen delivered the punt. Jerry Austin, the man in the white hat today.
Irving Spikes, 35, coming over, pointing to himself like it might be him.
Holding number 35 of the receiving team during the kick. 10 yards. First down, Miami.
So that'll push the Dolphins back to about their 32-yard line after the penalty.
That's one of the weirdest penalties. You've got a punt rush on. You're going after the kicker, but yet you get called in their backfield for holding. So number 35 is Spikes. Now now that's called holding and
Hey, look,
throwing.
I love this. Look at it, Paul. Raises his hands up.
Yeah, I did it.
I'm innocent.
See, I don't know. What I really like is when a guy admits it. He came off the sidelines. He said, I was the guy. I did it. It's my fault.
So they mark it back to the 27-yard line. First down for Miami. They have all their timeouts left. 1:47 remaining. 14 all to score. Marino from the shotgun. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes, 36 yards to Abdul-Jabbar, 22 yards to Lamar Thomas. Swings this one out of the backfield. Corwin Brown makes the tackle on Jarris McPhail. McPhail now in at fullback has his first catch. Gain of about 6.
Yeah, plenty of time. No reason to hurry because you have timeouts. Good field position.
Hand off to McPhail, and he breaks some tackles. Has the first down at the 42. Well, Marino wants to hurry him along with 1:15 left in the half.
He doesn't want to take a timeout because if you take a timeout, you give the defense time to readjust and change its defense. He likes what he sees. Wants to get a chance to go down the field.
To McPhail again, so 2 receptions and a run. McPhail has Miami at the 50-yard line, and now the first timeout is spent by the Dolphins. 57 seconds left in the first half. Second down and 2 is what he's thinking about in a 14-14 tie, and Marino incomplete and a flag down in the secondary off the fingertips of Jarris McPhail, who's been the go-to guy in this drive.
There's 2 flags. There's one down in the secondary, and there's also one here at about the 44-yard line.
It's going against the Jets.
Number 24 of the defense, 5 yards.
Ray Mickens.
Automatic first down.
Boy, I'll tell you, did Marino read Jarris McPhail, because he went out into the flat and then went up and saw man-on-man coverage and threw the ball perfectly where it had to be thrown. McPhail didn't catch it.
It must have been the sun on that side of the field. You got to remember that. No, but look, Paul, they've done it twice. They've thrown it to him out in the flat. So a great thing. Come back with the same play, but now he turns it up. The defender looks back for the short pass. He's open down the field.
Bernie Parmalee into the backfield now with Marino. First down. Complete to O.J. McDuffie. McDuffie doesn't get out of bounds. He's tackled at the 32, a 13-yard play. Otis Smith with the tackle. They hurry to the line of scrimmage with 37 seconds left in the half.
They got a lifetime. They really do.
They have 2 timeouts left. Jets defense looks a little confused at the moment. Marino throws it away. That stops the clock with 23 seconds showing. The Dolphins in long field goal range in this 14-14 tie.
Well, Marino that time read the blitz from the corner. Ray Mickens coming in, number 24, and throws the ball away.
Well, Dan Marino is really upset after this play because it's a blitz by the Jets. The receiver is supposed to read it, and he turns and he looks for the guilty party. And what did he tell us yesterday? He goes, I might look mad. I only get mad at myself. I don't get mad at my guys anymore.
Wrong. Yes. Tell me he doesn't get mad at his guys.
Throwing wide open over the middle is Parmalee. He's to the 3-yard line. 29 yards on the play, and the second timeout spent by Miami with 11 seconds left. Time for one play and then a field goal try. Remember, it was down in this area of the field where Miami and
watch Bernie Parmalee, Dick. He's gone out. He's gone out. This time he fakes. He hesitates. He goes down the middle. Corbin Brown is caught off guard. Again, he's expecting to break outside.
But, you know, Marino knows it all the way that he's one-on-one down the middle of the field. And what a perfect pass. He's been throwing nothing but darts. And if anybody thinks that Marino is done, you're crazy.
Paul, he knew that would be open down the middle because the defense was the same he's seen almost every single play in this drive.
They've added 4 seconds to the clock, so there's 15 seconds remaining. To just finish my point, 3 years ago, Marino down on the goal line and faking he's going to spike the ball and threw the touchdown, and it was a turning point in the whole Jets year and the next 2 years, as they would win only 4 games after that.
Well, we're going to see this thing, and I happen to be doing this game when this happened, and I'll tell you what, the Jets, you think they're not ready for anything?
Until this year, only 4 wins and 33 losses after that play.
Well, it put that team in a tailspin. They had to fire a coach, and then the next coach that came in there couldn't get them organized, so it was a tough drought for the Jets.
Marino, incomplete. intended for McPhail, and a flag is down. Victor Green was the man covering.
You know, Victor Green, don't even say anything to the official. You grabbed him. You had your arms wrapped around him.
Well, he bumped him. Paul, from here, it looked like Victor Green was in great position. Dan was not going to be able to complete that pass, but he did make contact and make the receiver move.
Now, that play took 2 seconds.
Number 21 of the defense at the 1-yard line.
Now, you have time to run a play here, a running play. Here it goes. Now, watch on the outside, bottom right, or left, I mean. Look at Green. Now he's got his arms around him. Oh, he's in position, huh? To do what?
He was in position. He didn't need to grab him. He just couldn't. He didn't know who was going to lead. That's all.
I will tell you what. You can run a running play. You have plenty of time. You have 13 seconds and a timeout.
That's right.
Out of the shotgun with McPhail in the backfield with Marino. He throws incomplete. Aaron Glenn covering O.J. McDuffie. 9 seconds left. Time for another play.
Right. If you're a Jet defender, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and create the foul when in doubt right now. If you're a pass defender, you can't get any closer. Just don't give up the play. So if you're beaten, tackle your guy. Don't let him complete the pass.
The worst you can do is put the ball back where it is right now on the 1-yard line.
Oh, no. You can go a half yard. Go down, Dick. You can go down. Half the distance to the goal line.
Again, shotgun Marino, no one with him. The throw incomplete. He went for Fred Barnett. And now 6 seconds. Well, here, do you try one more pass? 6 seconds?
Well, he started this baby down here with 15. He threw 1, 2, 3 passes. So that's 9 seconds off the clock. So it's only taken him 3 seconds to throw a pass. I figured that out. Citadel grad. Well, he didn't graduate, actually. Citadel was asked to leave.
Yeah, I'm shocked. You didn't graduate? I'm shocked.
Anyway, you're right. I mean, I applaud that. I applaud your mathematics.
I saw your pencil out there. You were working it, too. You thought I made a mistake.
The Jets will use one of their timeouts. And so both sides able to go for some deeper thinking in the strategy of this play. And it appears that Miami will try one more pass on 3rd and goal.
You know, Dick, Phil, this is the game we really thought it was going to be. It really is a great football game. Well, got good catches, defense.
And they're both, you know, similar teams, even match. Nobody can overpower the other one. Good offenses. They throw the ball well, so that's what we're getting.
You know, there's in baseball, you know, there's hitters for pitchers or pitchers that just, no matter what their record, they go out against a team and they win. How about Marino against the Jets, or Marino against the AFC East for that matter? Those are the most touchdowns against any team, and he has the top 4 positions, but he's just cleaned up on New York.
Well, look at the great quarterback, Joe Montana, is in 5th spot, and he's not playing anymore.
Well, Marino's got 2 touchdowns today and looking for a 3rd and the lead. Under center. And he fumbles the ball. Recovers it. 2 seconds. And he does stop the clock. Oh, my.
Well, the clock stops. The referee will stop it, too, because it's just like a sack by the quarterback behind the line of scrimmage, and they had the timeout. Dan Marino trying to get away from the center a little too quick, pulls out. That's what caused the fumble.
Remember, John Bach is the center today for the injured Tim Ruddy. And it actually been surprising when that's the first miscue off a snap we've seen on either side, with both teams playing a center who has not seen any action all year at that position.
I agree with Phil, though. The Marino tried to get out of there a little bit too soon. He wanted to get something done and get out. And the ball is high. See the ball coming up? Marino's going out.
No, it's not high. The ball, it is not. That is Dan Marino's fault 100%. Anytime the snap goes high, that tells me the quarterback separated his hands. It went between them.
Well, Mate in to try a short field goal. This one will be 24 yards. And Miami looking for its first lead of the game on the final play of the half. Mate has got it. 17-14. Miami with a lead at the half. And a first half that featured some spectacular offensive play by the wide receivers. Well, there we are in the Meadowlands, the Hudson River. And then off in the distance, the Big Apple, as we go from the Meadowlands to 30 Rock. NFL on NBC. Domino's Pizza halftime report down right there on about the 4th floor. Greg?
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC halftime report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's. Now,
Dick Enberg, thank you. You could see Chris Collinsworth hanging out the window and waving to you. Welcome back to our studio along with Chris and Sam Weish. I'm Greg Gumbel. Let's run down the scores and highlights for you, including the game that you're watching. What a terrific football game in progress. At halftime, the Dolphins lead at 17-14. Matchup between friendly rivals, Bill Parcells and Jimmy Johnson. Neil O'Donnell looks long, and there's Wayne Corbett. What a reliable receiver this guy is. He goes 70 yards to the 1-yard line. Leon Johnson ran it in from there, 7-0 Jets. In the second quarter, Dan Marino answers. He rolls to his right, throws back to his left. Can Kareem Abdul-Jabbar be any more wide open? 36 yards and a touchdown and a tie game at 7. Jets catch a break here. The officials ruled Richie Anderson down by contact and ruled no fumble, although he clearly lost the ball on the way down. It kept the drive alive. O'Donnell's pass intended for Corbett. Keyshawn Johnson with a big right paw. 14-7 Jets. And then Marino brings the Dolphins back down the field. He finds Lamar Thomas 22 yards and a touchdown. They added the late field goal for their first lead of the day at 17-14. And Dandy Dan Marino, 14 of 21, 207 yards and 2 touchdowns. We just sat here and marveled at the quality of his play in the first half, Chris.
You know, not only is this the best game that Dan Marino has had so far this year, this may be the best half that he has had in several years. The guy has been simply spectacular. When you consider that Marino, without a running game and with wide receivers absolutely blanketed for the most part down the field, he's still getting the ball in there. He is a one-man show right now for the Dolphins.
Something about the Jets that gets the Dolphins' dander up, doesn't it?
Well, that's 66 touchdown passes Dan Marino's thrown against the New York Jets. And when you're talking about their coverage, he's putting the ball in there. Now you're seeing the New York Jets defenders actually committing fouls out there. It's going to be a second half, could be a foul. It's going to give them some yards.
All right, the Jets trying to get ready for New England next week. The Patriots taking on the Buffalo Bills today and leading it comfortably 16-0 late in the first half. A homecoming for Walpole, Massachusetts native Todd Collins. Patriots on the board first. Drew Bledsoe to Ben Coates, 20 yards and a touchdown, and the Patriots are up 7-zip. Then linebacker Teddy Bruschi on the blitz nails Collins, who fumbles. Collins out of the game with a bruised left shoulder. On came Billy Joe Hobart, his first pass of the day. Picked off by Willie Clay. His 26-yard return set up the first of 3 Adam Vinatieri field goals in the first half. He's made 19 in a row. Hobart has been picked off twice. And it's a 16-0 lead in favor of the Patriots. You'd have to say that the Patriots are rebounding from that Monday night loss fairly well so far.
They're playing awfully well, and not only are they playing well, but they're beating up on the Buffalo Bills. Bruce Smith is coming in and out of the ball game with injuries. Of course, knocked out their quarterback. You know, the other thing you keep seeing right here, the kickers, Chris, aren't they an important part of the game here? Adam Vinatieri hadn't missed all year.
Very important, yes.
Thank you so much.
All right, in Tampa, the Bucks and the Detroit Lions. It is a 10-9 Detroit lead on the Tampa Bay Bucks. Barry Sanders has an 80-yard touchdown run in this game. He passes Jim Brown and becomes the 4th best rusher of all time.
Yeah, remember our poll during the pregame show where it said Terrell Davis is a better back than Barry Sanders? He passes Jim Brown today on one of the most spectacular runs you will ever see. Just leaving people baffled as to where this guy's going 80 yards down the field.
All right, Chris, in Chicago, another NFC Central game. The Packers with a 14-10 lead on the Chicago Bears. Brett Favre, a couple of touchdown passes in this one. In Jacksonville, Natron Means knocked out of the game early with a sprained left ankle. No problem. They turn to James Stewart, who goes 7 yards, 8 yards, and 2 yards on the ground for touchdowns. The Jaguars are leading the Eagles 21-7. Cincinnati in Tennessee to play the Oilers, 14-0. The Oilers with the lead. No need to wait for the official attendance figures. You can count them. Bengals on the drive. Kajana Carter gets the call, but he's hit by Lonnie Martz. It forces the fumble, and Joe Bowden recovers for the Oilers. They take over at their own 40. From the Bengal 9, Steve McNair to Willie Davis for the touchdown. McNair's 6th of the season. Kajana not at all happy with that over on the sideline. The Oilers go up 7-0 late in the first half. McNair forced out of the pocket, scrambles, and finally puts one up to Frank Wycheck, who is loose down the sideline. This is 39 yards and the touchdown, and the Oilers take a 14-0 lead. Both these teams are 1-4 going in on the season. And in New Orleans, the Atlanta Falcons have a 13-3 lead on the New Orleans Saints. The Falcons are winless in 5 starts. When we return, we will preview Game 5 of the National League Championship Series, which follows football at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. The Braves and the Marlins tied at 2 games apiece. We'll get to that right after this from your local station.
Things that are new in Miami. I am part of what's new in Miami, too. I'm Zach Thomas of the Miami Dolphins. The NFL has been a part of the United Way campaign over the years, but now there's a new spirit of teamwork with the United Way bringing together the whole community to impact on our toughest problems. We're all part of the team, all doing our part to make it a better community for them and all of us. The NFL, the United Way, and you, the power of teamwork.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For Hot and Wow, call Domino's. Now.
Welcome back to the Meadowlands. The Dolphins with a late field goal in the second quarter to take the lead for the first time, 17-14. The Coors Light halftime statistics. Yardage almost even, 243 Miami, 225 for the Jets, and Miami scoring big on first down, mostly through the air with Marino. And both passers, there's some Sundays where the entire NFL you don't have a passer with more than 300 yards for a game, and both Marino and O'Donnell are on course to have big games. Marino 414 yards if he could duplicate his first half numbers.
Well, we always hear coaches, Jimmy Johnson, we got to run the ball. Why? Drop back, he gets good protection, throw the football, and then run the ball every once in a while just for deception. That's what I would do if I was the Miami Dolphins, because you cannot line up in traditional running formations and overpower any defense.
And I think the key to all those halftime stats is that one on the bottom that says on first down, 7.1 yards on the average. That enables you to do whatever you want to do after that.
John Hall will kick it off to Miami to start this second half. Unable to hit the end zone today after 20 touchbacks on the season to lead the NFL. This one to the 7-yard line. Irving spikes. Gets to the 20, to the 23-yard line. Marcus Coleman made the tackle as we visit with James Lofton.
Thanks, Dick. I caught up with both coaches at halftime, and Bill Parcells said we're having too many penalties, and also on defense, we're not getting a jam on their wide receivers. Jimmy Johnson, you think he might be happy at halftime? He's still complaining about that fumble that didn't get called on their sideline. And as far as running the football, he said, we'll do it enough to keep him honest. But Dan Marino's still the guy.
James Lofton, his family, saw them at seeing Cats on Broadway. He thought Paul McGuire would be a great old Deuteronomy. I think that is good company. First play of the second half, it's Abdul-Jabbar gets a little crease and out to the 28-yard line for a pickup of 5, and that first down success continues for Miami.
It really does. You know, the other thing about Jimmy Johnson complaining about that miss fumble is, well, if we do them again 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, he's going to bring it up then. He's going to say, you remember that fumble that we didn't get?
Now, they don't forget the
no, they don't. He doesn't.
Those moments, nor does Parcells. Big second quarter for Marino on Miami, trying to build on that momentum with the lead. Abdul-Jabbar unable to get out of the wraps of Victor Green. Green saved a big gain as he came up to put Abdul-Jabbar down short of the first down.
And nowadays, if a running play takes too long, which that one did, you're always going to see these safeties. The way they're so aggressive, they read the run so fast, they're always going to come up and make these tackles at the line of scrimmage.
Third down and 3. O.J. McDuffie, Marino's favorite receiver, is to the left. Swings it to the back, and it's Abdul-Jabbar who gets the first down. Needed 3, got 4 to the 34-yard line. Mo Lewis chased him out.
I'm going to tell you something, and you know better than anyone. I'm going to ask you. You guys see things from that little ear hole that you have in your helmet. How does he know?
Well, he shouldn't know, because it was man coverage, and the Jets really just blow it. They do not get it by a defender on the running back fast enough. But Dan can see nobody's gone up the field, so he knows his back is not going to have anybody in front of him.
Pretty good catch by Abdul-Jabbar. That was a tough ball. Drayton's tight end in motion. Reno, lots of time. Almost intercepted by Otis Smith. It appeared for a moment he was going to get it. Lamar Thomas picked it off for Miami near midfield.
Boy, Otis Smith knows he should have had the interception. Dan Marino throwing all the way across the field. Otis Smith reads the route against Lamar Thomas. Tries to drive him off. He makes a complete turn, drives forward, and misses it.
The only thing about this play is Marino looks at Thomas late, because when you see Marino now, that ball is there late, because Lamar Thomas had Smith beaten by about 4 or 5 yards, and if that would have been intercepted, that would have been against Marino, really, and he was the guy that would have caused it.
9 yards on the play. Thomas with 4 catches as he's enjoying his first start for Miami this year. Last time he was a starter was back in his rookie season in Tampa. 2nd and 1. Abdul-Jabbar, first down at the 50. Tripped up by Pepper Johnson.
You talk about Lamar Thomas. Last week he says, hey, I was just happy to put the uniform on again on game day. He goes out for warm-ups. What does he do?
Dislocates
a finger. Yes, they had to take him back inside.
How'd they know it was dislocated?
I think when it makes that L turn, you know, it's go.
How about him screaming? Everybody in the stands do it. They said they had to take him inside in the tunnel because he was screaming so loud.
Scaring all the fans. First down at the 45. Marino deep down the middle to Drayton, the tight end, and he grabs it at the 34. Victor Green hammered in, but Drayton hangs on.
You know what happens here? This is why it really pays and it helps the quarterback when you got a big tight end. Troy Drayton's going to go down the middle. Watch Victor Green, number 21. It looks like he's going to be able to make the play, but he can't get over the back of this big tight end. Drayton shields the defender off of him and makes the catch.
Well, that's, you know, it really is. It's a perfect pass. Look where the pass is. The only guy that can really catch it is going to be Drayton.
Oh, no. Ball start against Miami.
Ball start.
Number
78. 5 yards. It's still first down.
Eventually they're going to start giving a name. You know, number 78, Richmond Webb. That'll really make them mad.
That wouldn't be fair. You know, they don't get enough talk. They don't get talked about enough. Let's don't just say it when they have penalties.
For the good things, yeah. The only time we mention them is when they're ticketed for a foul.
And today, you know, Dan Marino's having a great day throwing the ball, but he has all day to find those receivers down the field, too.
And that's that offensive line. And again, the thing that James Lofton talked about, we have 2 new centers in this game on both sides.
And Webb the tackle 7 times, a Pro Bowler. Quick pass, complete. Bernie Parmalee, short-tailed by Victor Green, but he's inside the Jets' 30-yard line. 10 yards on the play.
Hugh Douglas now playing in the 34 defense. It's a little rough for him.
10-yard gain.
Gets beat up a little in the first half. He had a rough go at it, too.
2nd and 5.
Well, he's getting double teamed a lot. Wow. I'm sorry, but that, I mean, he spent a lot of time on his number there.
Well, he's playing a position he's not used to. The 34, he has to play right in front of those big tackles, where in the 4-3 he gets to get outside of them, doesn't have to take them on.
And second down, a big hole for Abdul-Jabbar, and he spins down to the Jets' 15-yard line. 14 more yards, and Gary Stevens' offense now chewing up some big chunks.
Well, it's a good job by Jeff Bucky and Richmond Webb on the left side. Just opened up the hole. But if you're the New York Jets, they've got you thinking pass now, this Miami offense. So when they run the ball, it almost catches the Jet defense by surprise.
Okay, come on, Hugh. It's Hugh's turn again on Richmond Webb. I mean, he just gets blocked out. Look at Richmond Webb. I mean, he takes daylight away from you.
Jabbar for about 3 yards.
Dick, let's go back to something of what Parcells talked to us about. This is something he just did not want to see happen to his football team, because he had talked about his defense. Jimmy Johnson told us yesterday that he thinks that they can run against this defensive line. Their guys can handle. Parcells was afraid that this was going to happen.
I think he'd like to see more running right now if I was Bill Parcells. The passing game is what is really killing him and setting all this up. But again, didn't mention it before, but Hugh Douglas is injured, playing on one leg, and that's one of the reasons why he's having a little trouble out there today.
And he's only 266, which is small as a defensive lineman go. And Lamar Thomas comes up a hopping on that play. Thomas, who has been very productive today for the Miami offense. It'll be 3rd down and 8 as Bill Parcells sends in 5 defensive replacements.
But he's making a quick cut to the outside. It looked like his foot slipped. I'm not sure what he hurt.
I'm not either. I mean, he didn't get hit. Looks like he turned his ankle.
Well, Barnett and O.J. McDuffie to the left. Marino, screen pass, it just did not develop. Good job by Chad Cascadden. He was right on Abdul-Jabbar.
Well, that's why it didn't develop. Cascadden was there, and Marino just saw the play there. They're going to go for the field goal, but he had no place to throw the football.
Murray in. He kicked the 23-yard field goal. They changed from 22 to 23 as they looked at the videotape. And that one gave Miami its first lead on the final play of the first half. This one will be 30 or 31 yards, depending on John Kidd's spot. Murray misses to the right. So a long drive by Jimmy Johnson's offense that consumed nearly 6 minutes gets the Dolphins deep, but Murray misses to the right.
We invented the Pentium 2 processor to do amazing things for your PC. So it seemed only fitting to find an equally amazing way to bring it to the world. Did somebody say road trip? I think it's going around.
Welcome back to the Meadowlands in this battle. Jets and Miami trying to stay near the top of the AFC East. Adrian Morrell swings wide, out of bounds after a gain of 3 at the 24. Well, when our partner Phil Simms was quarterbacking.
Thanks, Dick. And this guy made Phil Simms look good because Phil, I watched Phil throwing warm-ups. He just couldn't get it. Now, you work with the Jet tight ends, rather, during training camp. What's your assessment of them for this ballgame?
Well, I think the Jets have a couple of very good tight ends. Kyle Brady's a great blocker. Freddie Baxter, he's an all-around good tight end. And John Burke came from the Patriots. I haven't worked with him, but they got what they have is a great tight ends coach, and Pat Hudson, who really gets these guys ready to play every Sunday. And I really take my hat off to him. He's taught me a lot about coaching and what it takes to be a coach in the league.
Now what's Bill like in the locker room? And you're talking about coaching, but what's Bill like when he's fussing at these guys at halftime?
Bill, he's just very laid back. He prepares guys during the week so he doesn't have to do it on Sunday. If they need a kick in the butt, he gives it to them. But for the most part, these guys are ready to play come game time.
Now, you've been around these guys during training camp. You help coach them. Do you have any aspirations of joining this staff full time?
Well, I got a little taste of coaching this summer. Bill Parcells, he did me a very big favor. Let me come into camp and see what it was all about. And I got to tell you, it's a lot of work. I'm not really sure if I'm ready for it. It's a lot of work.
Well, the real world is tough. Back up to you, Dick.
Okay. Good to see Mark Bavaro. I mean, that was the Gettysburg Address.
That's
all
right.
Those years of trying to interview him, he wouldn't say hello to you. He's become very verbal.
Saving it to when he becomes a coach.
There you go. Zach Thomas made the tackle of Morrell on that last play. It's 2nd and 7. Wide open, Morrell out of the backfield. And he's to the 49 of the Jets, and another first down, a flag down. 11 yards if. Maybe that just was a piece of paper that had blown out, a yellow piece of paper. They pick it up.
You know, you're talking about Morrell came in here, and we talked to him, and he runs the ball, and he loves it. He's very successful this year. He's carried the ball 10 times so far in this game, Dick, for 19 yards.
There it is. Looked like a flag, but that's that third hot dog you had, Paul. You got to put those paper wrappers in your pocket when you're through. Baxter in motion, and Morrell charged by that reception, but gets only 3 into the arms of Anthony Harris. Now, Adrian Morrell's father, Angelo, is cheering him on. There's Angelo, a U.S. Army sergeant. Career man, 26 years in the infantry, tough guy, and a great inspiration to his son.
I mean, that means that Parcells is going to be a piece of cake for him.
Yeah, I think, well, we heard him say that they're very much alike.
Yeah, they are.
You've got that touchdown salute. You've seen Morrell in the games this year. That's a tribute to his dad. Play action for O'Donnell. And he goes long, wide open is Graham. He had beaten Buckley, but the pass a stride too long.
Boy, he put a move on Buckley and just took it up the field. That was just a great move by Graham.
Yeah, Neil O'Donnell, what he needed to do was throw the ball to the inside and let Jeff Graham run across the field. You see Jeff Graham coming up the field, little move to the outside. The safety kind of gets fooled because of the play action fake, takes a short receiver. Neil O'Donnell just lets the ball go a little too far.
So 3rd down and 7 for the Jets, trailing 17-14. 6 minutes plus left in the 3rd quarter.
Fred Baxter was a little upset because he was wide open about 12 yards downfield.
And O'Donnell tripped up on the defensive charge, the 3rd sack for the Dolphins, and give this one to Shane Burton, who has his 2nd of the year. 2nd-year man from Tennessee.
Shane Burton, number 75, just does a good job. He just overpowers the blocker, pushes him in the backfield, and Matt O'Dwyer trying to hold on, but Neil O'Donnell cannot get out of the way.
It almost looked like Burton never touched him. He was just trying to get away from him as he was falling down.
Brian Hansen has come close to being blocked a couple of times. He goes down, no flag. And a fair catch by Charles Jordan at the 16-yard line.
Hansen's hurt, but I'm going to tell you why. The reason they don't throw a flag is because the defender is being blocked into the punter. And when this happens, they won't call it. You see the guys are being blocked in. Actually, it's his own man that hits him.
His own guy, you're right, Paul, hits him in the knee.
Leon Johnson, it appeared.
Johnson is there on the left of your screen. Watch him. He gets driven back into Hansen. Boy, look at his knee.
So they attend to Brian Hansen, and we'll take this timeout. They helped the punter Brian Hansen off the field. He took a vicious hit from his own man, Leon Johnson. John Hall, the place kicker, who did punt. He was the punter at Wisconsin as well, will be the replacement kicker.
Here it comes again. You see his own man being knocked back into him.
All of his weight. Al Marino at the 16. His team leads 17-14. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He runs hard out to the 23-yard line, a gain of 5+. James Ferrier made the tackle.
That's what Jimmy Johnson was telling us about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He said he's not a speed runner. He's a power runner. I mean, he's got some speed, but not great speed.
Yeah, he said when he's in there, we need to make the crease. He can find the crease, but we got to kind of make it for him. And why he wanted to play Irving Spikes a little today, because he can make just things happen.
A gain of nearly 7 on the play. 2nd and a long 3, and flags fly. Jabbar.
Ball was snapped. Ball start. Number 66. 5 yards. It's still 2nd down.
Everett McIver, the guilty party, as we go back to James.
Thank you, Dick. Maybe the biggest problem having Brian Hansen out in the kicking department. Hall will step in as the punter, but now Glenn Foley becomes the holder. And we've seen all too often this season that the center exchange between the holder has really been the problem with kickers all season long.
All right. Thank you, James.
And I like the fact you got a quarterback as a holder.
2nd and 8 out of the backfield. Short gain as Victor Green came up to cover rookie Ed Perry. Perry was the 6th round pick of Jimmy Johnson out of James Madison, and does not look good for Hansen as they have that left knee heavily iced already.
Well, you can kind of see why they got a call roughing the punter. They call those because they're defenseless back there. They can't protect themselves. Once they're punting the ball, that leg is exposed, and that's why they have those rules in there to protect these guys.
3rd down and 7. Jets crowd comes to life as Marino drops back into the shotgun. Incomplete. Marcus Coleman on the coverage of Charles Jordan.
Well, that time the Jets might have confused Dan Marino just a little. What they did was just rush 3 guys. They put that extra defender back in pass coverage. It seemed to help out. Just a little bit of a hole. Dan Marino couldn't make the perfect throw.
Oh, but he had Jordan open. Jordan was open downfield. He just couldn't get it to him.
John Kidd, who was not kicking well, was released by Miami and now recalled. Leon Johnson stands inside the 35. Just did get that one by Mo Lewis. Johnson, returnable, 50, and bounced back at the 47-yard line by Bernie Parmalee. 39 on the punt, 11 on the return, a 3-point game.
Today on the NFL on NBC, Emmitt Smith spoke candidly about the Cowboys' fading mystique.
I don't think teams respect us like they once did. And maybe we don't deserve their respect because maybe we haven't played to the point where we just ram it down people's throat and make them love it.
Don't miss the NFL on NBC next Sunday.
All right, Mo Lewis breaks free. If he goes 3 yards in front of the kicker, he blocks us. But what he is doing, he is going right at the kicker. You can't block a ball there. You have to have the line. Phil, that second one is the one. If he is at that second spot, he blocks the punt.
Best field position of the game for O'Donnell and the Jets. And he swings it out. Short gainer, Richie Anderson. And time now to check on action elsewhere. Let's go to Greg Gumbel across the river.
All right, Dave, we'll take it up to Foxborough where that man Curtis Martin strikes from 26 yards out. Nobody's going to catch him. To the end zone for the touchdown with the extra.
The Patriots feeling the heat from teams like Miami and the Jets trying to preserve their sole position atop the AFC East. Handoff inside, short gain down to the 40-yard line. Richie Anderson, it'll be 3rd down and 3.
Well, Zach Thomas, his job as a middle linebacker, stand way back there, read the play, and then come forward and try to blow it up.
Zach Thomas in the first half. He's around the ball. Oh, that's a real linebacker hit.
Puts his face right in there.
You gotta love it.
On 3rd and 3, the Jets look to be short. Morrell.
And the reason why they went with their running play, it's been successful. But 3rd and 3. Bill Parcells probably told the coaches, we're going to go for it on 4th down regardless. Let's run it, get it closer. Now he can have the run-pass option here.
Well, they're bringing in Rick Lyle, number 95, who is a defensive end.
Parcells goes for more 4th downers than anyone in the league. More than 2 a game on the average. 4th and 1. Take to Morrell, the throw, complete to Graham. First down at the Miami 27. 11 yards on the play.
Well, the Jets, here's what they do. They come in, 3 tight ends, make you think they're going to run the ball to the right. 3 tight ends. Look down here. You have one-on-one for the wide receiver, Jeff Graham. Neil O'Donnell knows he's got the play he wants. Well, he gets a little tight, though, and kind of guides the ball in there instead of letting it go.
4th downs, averaged about 1 a game with the Giants, then over 2 with the Patriots, and now 2 1/3 4th down attempts with the Jets. Morrell brought down at the 25, and the Dolphins have done an excellent job of defending against Adrian Morrell, who has 3 100-yard games this year and another at 99.
Well, the Dolphins got those 2 big guys inside, Daryl Gardner and Sean Mullins. Then they got all that speed on defense. That's the reason why they're stopping Adrian Morrell today.
See how Morrell has improved with maturity and averaging 98.5 in the 6 games thus far this year, but only 24 yards today and 12 carries. Donald to the flat to Graham, and he has another catch. Jeff Graham with a half dozen receptions today. Had only 13 all year and 6 today. NFL season extends to the World Wide Web on NFL.com, the league's official website. Visit NFL.com. All the scores, statistics, including a complete roundup of this weekend's scores in action. Plus chat live with some of the NFL's biggest stars. It's all at NFL.com. Ball at the 19 of Miami. The Jets trail 17-14. 3rd down and 2. Has the first down to the 15. Tripped up by Jason Taylor and Dwight Hollier.
Well, if you got to get a first down, it's 3rd and short. Go behind your big guys. You can never go wrong. Run left behind Jumbo Elliott and Lonnie Palelli. First time I've seen a good hole for the runner all day on those straight ahead runs.
Jets in position to score. They trail 17-14. End of 3. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. Welcome back to Kinberg, Phil Simms, Paul McGuire, and James Lofton with us on the sidelines. Miami leading 17-14 with the Jets driving as we open this 4th period. First down, New York at the Miami 15-yard line. 17-14. Jimmy Johnson's team leads Bill Parcells. 2 men who have each won 2 Super Bowls in the NFC Eastern Division, now competing in the AFC East. O'Donnell trying to find someone to throw to, and a punishing hit by Hollier as he dumps it off to Morrell.
Boy, Hollier was just sitting there waiting for him to dump this ball out there, trying to throw the ball to Keyshawn Johnson on an out cut, and he can't get it to him up in the air. Watch this. Look at Collier. Well, I'm surprised Morrell held on to it.
Well, it'd been better if he'd have dropped it. It'd be incomplete, and they wouldn't have lost all those yards. But the push on the pocket made Neil O'Donnell double clutch. Hollier sees the back coming out. Good job of reacting and getting up the field.
5-yard loss. 2nd and 15. O'Donnell to the end zone. Graham out of the end zone. Covered by Terrell Buckley.
You know, you were talking about Parcells and Jimmy Johnson, and when you talk to these 2 guys, we talked to Parcells in the morning yesterday, and in the afternoon you talk to Jimmy Johnson. They have the utmost respect for each other, Dick. They really do. I mean, they respect their coaching abilities.
Well, I think what happened is Jimmy Johnson coming from Miami to the Dallas Cowboys, we used to go down there and just thrash them. It was great. You know, we used to beat them up. But I think Bill could see right from the start, he saw the plan that Jimmy Johnson was trying to work with down there, and he knew it was going to work. So they kind of formed a friendship, I think, over that.
Certainly mutual respect. 3rd and 15. O'Donnell scrambling. Dumps it off to Leon Johnson. Good catch. And he struggles forward. Ruled down by contact at about the 13, short of the first down, and here comes John Hall in to try to tie it up. And remember, a new holder, Glenn Foley, the backup quarterback for the injured Brian Hansen. Foley number 4. John Hall, this one from 30 yards to tie it up. Hall, who has made good on 13 of 16 and 3 over 50 yards this year. Wisconsin gets a good hold, and is it good? No, he misses to the right. So both Mate from 31 and Hall from 30 have missed right from the same position on the field in the second half.
Look at this, baby, and it just goes right. Yeah, and it's got to be a push. Now, question, look at the hold by Foley. Are the laces in the front? No, the laces are to the right. And most of the time, when the laces are to the right, it'll go right.
Miami retains the lead, 17-14.
The laces straight up the field, so they kick it straight up the field. Watch where the laces are, right here. They're facing Foley. And that is not what the kicker wants.
So from the 20-yard line, Miami puts it in play. A gain of a yard on first down for Abdul-Jabbar. James?
Yeah, they came off the field and they worked on this right after they missed the field goal, and Foley was leaning the ball to the left, and actually Hall corrected him and said, I want you to lean this to the right, more towards yourself, the holder. So hopefully they've got this thing worked out, but it's playing mind games with them.
You know what I love? I love a kicker telling the quarterback what to do. Huh?
2nd down and 9. Miami leading 17-14, 13 minutes left in the 4th quarter. Reno has a man open right in the tight end, and the big man is wrestled down at midfield. James Ferrier makes the tackle. Big gain of 28 yards on the play.
Well, this is the exact same play that the Dolphins ran last week. Drayton's going to come out, look to the flat, James Ferrier covering man-to-man coverage. When he turns up the field, the rookie linebacker goes, oh no. But the good thing, he has speed. He chases him down and makes the play. But a double move usually gets a young defender.
Did you look at Marino too, Phil? He looked at Drayton the entire way. He never looked at anyone else.
7 different receivers employed by Marino. First down from his own 49. Abdul-Jabbar cuts upfield, flag down. 4-yard gain if.
Bernie Parmalee, number 30.
Meanwhile, New England romping against Buffalo late in the 3rd period.
Yeah, New England's got that big hangover from Monday night.
Number 30 of the offense, 10 yards, repeat first down.
You know, it's hard to say, but you know who causes the holding really is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, because he's doing some dancing, and all Parmalee, he's on the bottom of the screen. He's trying to help him out as much as possible. Doesn't want him to get killed, but he tackles Ferrier.
Ball taken back to the 39. First down and 20. Marino with 2 touchdown passes today, changing plays. He's got 375 touchdown passes in his brilliant career. Abdul-Jabbar breaking 1 tackle, but then Otis Smith gets him out of bounds after a short gain. Only 2 yards on the play.
Well, this play was designed to go to the right, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar going to the left-hand side of the screen and sees, whoops, there's nothing over there. Let me get back over this way. That was Pepper Johnson, I think, in the backfield. So he gets back this side. That was a very, very long 2-yard run.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 5'10", 200, has gained 51 yards today. As a touchdown reception. 2nd and long from Marino. Finds a big target. It's Drayton again. Otis Smith makes the tackle. Forward progress to the 45 of the Jets. 13 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 4.
Philip, when he decides to throw it, he throws it.
Well, he can. I tell you, he's picking out the right guy all day too. And Troy Drayton, again, Paul, looks, he's just a big target. And this time he does a good job of coming back to the ball, because Otis Smith had designs of maybe picking that off.
Had to bring shades of Bavaro when you saw him on the sidelines. You hit him enough times, you made a living with it, guy.
Drayton given a breather. He has 4 catches today, 65 yards. Literally no catches through the first 4 games of the year. Swing it to Abdul-Jabbar. Make that Juris, but fail, and he is hit hard out of bounds, short of the first down. Jimmy Johnson with a 4th down and about 2.5. Corwin Brown made the defensive play.
1 yard gain.
And the punting team comes on. John Kidd will kick it. Leon Johnson drifts back to the 10 for the Jets.
Okay, they've been very close to John Kidd on 2 separate occasions. I'd get this thing off a little bit faster if I were you.
Veteran from Northwestern, Kidd in his 14th NFL year. Sends a high wobbler, and Johnson comes up to fair catch it just short of the 15-yard line. And without a timeout, 10:04 left in the 4th. Miami leads. 10 minutes to go, 17-14 Miami. We've talked a lot about these 2 coaches and how much alike they are. They're both really tough. They make tough decisions, but they have one soft spot when they talk about the men with whom they've coached or other coaches. And yesterday, Parcells really caught us all off guard. He pulled out a letter from a coach down in Texas, in Brownwood, Texas. Gordon Woods, he said, won 405 games in high school. That's averaging 10 wins a year for 40 years. Said used to come up to Texas Tech when Bill was an assistant coach and watch him coach. And he said he's always, it was a 5-hour round trip drive every day just to see him coach. And here he's one of the winningest coaches in high school history. And he got real emotional talking about it. Jeff Graham, he'll bring a smile, not tears, if he keeps catching those. That's 7.
Well, you know what I liked about it, he says after a couple of days, Parcells, he's telling us he's a young assistant, you know, boy, you can imagine him as a young assistant, but he's coaching, he keeps turning around, he sees this guy. And finally they meet and they talk, and Gordon Wood says to Parcells, you know, you're going to be okay, boy. You're going to be a good coach someday.
Someday.
Some days. What a great story. And you just never know as a coach when you're going to influence somebody's life and make a difference. And a lot of these guys, they do.
Hey, coaches are second fathers in many ways. Anyone who's ever played any game and didn't have love for their coach, there's something wrong.
Well, the other thing that really got me is after Parcells went to his book and opened it up and read the letter to us, and it was all done talking about this man.
Yeah.
He said, I would not sell this letter for $1 million. He said, and he closed up his book and put it away, and it's there.
But we hear, you talk about second fathers, we hear that from some players, especially about Joe Paterno. Once they leave, they'd always look back, these players, they go, boy, Coach Paterno was right. He taught us a lot of good things about life.
O'Donnell throws complete. That one's to Dedrick Ward, his first catch today. And it's short of the first down. 6 yards on the play. And we remind you of the MetLife Blimp celebrating 10 years of providing aerial coverage of sporting events and TV specials throughout the U.S. Combined, the Blimp Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 have traveled over 600,000 miles since the program began. That's just a little more than we traveled yesterday going out to Hofstra to see the Jets and then going all the way down to Newark to visit with Miami.
Too much quality time in the car with you, Dick.
200 miles yesterday. O'Donnell on 3rd and 4, and he can't get away from Derek Rogers. That's the 4th Miami sack, and for Rogers, the rookie from Arizona State, his 3rd of the season.
Well, the Jets have been trying to run these plays all day. They put 3 receivers to the right. The Dolphins are doing a great job of covering it. Here are the 3 receivers. None of them are open. Neil O'Donnell looks. Then there's pressure on the quarterback, and Derek Rogers, number 59, just using his speed and just outrunning the pass protection.
John Hall the punt for the first time. Oh, does he hit one? He rockets one back to the 13. Charles Jordan. Maybe he kicked it too long. And he returns it out to the 36-yard line. For Hall, his first NFL punt, 58 yards and 23 on the return.
Watch the extension of Hall. You're going to see why he's a great kicker. Look at his leg. Watch it up above his head. Isn't that beautiful?
This is just picture postcard day in the east. Temperature in the 70s, clear skies. 17-14 the score. Miami leads it. Starts at the 36-yard line. Marino throwing on first down. Down the middle and wide open again is Lamar Thomas. Thomas, who limped off earlier, comes back to make the catch in front of Otis Smith. 18 on the play.
Well, Lamar Thomas against Otis Smith. Otis Smith is just worrying about the deep route. Here he is. Watch him. He's respecting the speed. Get back. He has no help deep. So big cushion. Dan Marino has all the time in the world, which he has the whole day, finds the open receiver.
Lamar Thomas, who caught only 10 passes all last year, has 5 today. From the Jet 46, Abdul-Jabbar twisting to the 41, a gain of 5. So you can see so much here in the Meadowlands.
Well, you can. And you look down there, you know, those are eyeballs. Those are not eyeballs, but, you know, contact lenses for everybody. But you know, the hard part is getting your head in there to get those things put on your eyes.
Yeah, really?
That's eye wash, this eye wash and stuff here. They got all good stuff. I mean, that's so you can see. You're not going to hit me on the head again,
you
right?
deserve a hit.
Second down and 5. You get your head, you got to go in the back of the door of that thing. 23 for 33 from Marino. The toss, Abdul-Jabbar. Whoa, what a hit by Victor Green, who came up to help out. And Otis Smith was there as well.
Sometimes you get caught up trying to run the clock out when you're into 8 minutes in the game, and you got to be doing the things that got you ahead.
Now there is a young man that has a story. Jim Kitts was activated for this game for the first time. Never played fullback in his life, linebacker all of his life, played an arena ball, World League, and now they've got him ready to play fullback in Miami. Just been on special teams today. And Marino's going to call time. The Kitts story will continue. You're watching the NFL on NBC.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. Call now to enjoy a hot, delicious Domino's Pizza during the game. For hot and wow, call Domino's now.
Fans chanting defense as Miami has a 3rd down and 3 at the Jets' 39-yard line. We welcome those of you who have been watching the Bills and the Patriots. This is Nick Enberg along with Bill Sims, Paul McGuire, James Lofton. We're at the Meadowlands, 4th quarter. 6:29 left. Miami with the ball and the lead, 17-14. A critical 3rd and 3. Fake to Abdul-Jabbar. Marino underneath for the first down to McDuffie at the 33-yard line. Aaron Glenn made the tackle.
Now, if you wonder why O.J. McDuffie has only caught a couple of balls today, is because they've had Aaron Glenn on him. Aaron Glenn told us he is my man wherever he goes on the field.
What's a tough play? Here's O.J. McDuffie. He's going to come in motion, stop, and then go back out. When you're in man coverage, this is a tough job. Look at the defender, all the people he had to go around. That's the reason O.J. McDuffie got open that time.
Boy, you're absolutely right, Phil. He just had to go around too many people. He had to go around the linebacker to try to get back to McDuffie.
Moving into field goal range is Marino with a 3-point lead. Full house blitz, and Marino just does get it away. And what a catch! A one-handed catch by McDuffie as Aaron Glenn was all over him. We have seen in this game some of the most spectacular catches. I mean, it's a season's worth.
It's a blitz by the Jets. Watch what happens. People come through. They're fooled. Victor Green was going for the run. Otherwise, he would have ran right into Dan Marino and made the play. Marino just gets the ball off. And then, what a catch.
O.J. McDuffie, this is the second one, folks, in this ball game. It's just been spectacular. That was another one-arm catch. But I don't know what Victor Green was looking at. He has Marino dead in the backfield.
First down for Miami at the 22. Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, what a hit from Jason Ferguson. No, it's Pepper Johnson. Johnson losing his helmet and trying to inspire his teammates. That's the emotion we used to see from Johnson when he was a Giant backer.
Now, see, you're not allowed to take your helmet off during the game, but you can get it knocked off. That's what Pepper did. I mean, that is some kind of hit. Pepper Johnson steps up, number 52, and he's walking around saying, I can play without my helmet if I have to.
That was the kind of play that helped the Giants win 2 Super Bowls. Pepper Johnson playing for Parcells. 2nd down and 9. To the end zone. That was one of those throw it short and hope that the defender, in this case Otis Smith, would run by the receiver. Lamar Thomas, who is making his first start of the year and contributing today.
Well, Dick, you're exactly right. Dan Marino saw the blitz, man coverage. He tried to throw it before the defender looked. He had the exact play, the coverage. It would have worked. He just didn't get the ball out there. Watch Dan Marino. Here's the signal. He's telling them what to run. They know exactly what play is going to come up. They just didn't execute it.
3rd and 9. Crowd rises. Marino. Incomplete to Fred Barnett. And Marino chewing at one of his linemen. A flag is down.
He never got the play off.
It's ever made. The 25-second clock expired. Delay of game. On the offense.
So in a way, it's a free play for Jimmy Johnson's Dolphins. They get another chance.
Well, he was yelling at the center block, the center of the ball. Marino saw the clock going down, and with the noise in the stadium, Bach couldn't hear it.
Remember, the center, John Bach, is starting for the first time for the injured Tim Ruddy.
You see Marino going up the box, just look at him. He says, you got to pay attention. Look at me. Look between your legs. Look at me. And he was waving, center the ball. He never did center it.
4:12 left in the 4th quarter. The Jets hoping they can stop Miami and at least drive for a tying field goal. Marino and Miami looking for something bigger than that and take a sizable lead.
He's changing the play again.
3rd down, close to 14. Over the middle, complete. Fumble, picked up by McDuffie, and McDuffie has a touchdown. Charles Jordan fumbled at the 3. McDuffie, who has made some sensational catches today, gets the fortuitous bounce, and Miami gets 6.
Charles Jordan is still down on the ground, but I'll tell you, you talk about a throw and catch.
It's just buying time. The quarterback does a good job. Dan Marino. There's Jordan in the slide. He's just going to go around the defender. Ray Mickens cuts in front of him. I'm sorry. Marino hung in the pocket, waited for it. Then 2 good hits by the Jet defense.
O.J. McDuffie, you talk about right there. He's in, puts the ball over the goal line, and it is touchdown. Now, we went through this rule we saw yesterday. If this would have happened inside of 2 minutes, folks, let me show you a rule. You see this fumble right here? Here's the ball on the ground. If this ball is on the ground, O.J. McDuffie picks up and goes in for a touchdown, would not have been a touchdown. Charles Jordan had to recover the ball himself. The ball would have gone back. Look at Marino. Is he happy?
It is not a touchdown pass. It's a score on the fumble recovery by Jordan, who runs it in the final 5 yards. So Miami's lead increases to 23-14. Mare to try the extra point. It's just a short field goal, but this one right down the middle. 24-14 Miami with 4 minutes plus remaining. Such a beautiful day. Our MetLife Blimp captains are paying us to be up there to look down on the Meadowlands. Captains Russ Adams and Doug McFadden. This year, Snoopy proud to celebrate 10th anniversary co-piloting the MetLife Blimp.
He's doing a wonderful job.
Mare kicks it off. The Jets down by 10 with 4 minutes left. Aaron Glenn, ever dangerous, runs into his own blockers and down at the 23-yard line. Sean Wooden there to secure the stop. Well, you've been in this situation, Phil Simms. 4 minutes to go, down by 10.
Well, if you're the Jet offense, the coach is over you probably should go to the hurry-up offense. If you can score somewhere, as long as there's 2 minutes left in the game, that gives you plenty of time because you have 3 timeouts. Then if you could just stop the Miami offense, which might be the hardest thing to do.
Well, do you go to the things that, even if they're short passes, the things that have been working?
Whatever, just take what you can get. Even if it's short, throw it short, complete the pass, and hope your guys can make some plays once they catch it.
O'Donnell to Corbett, who's been quiet since the first quarter, and Corbett out close to a first down. Anthony Harris makes the tackle after a 9-yard gain. Corbett with a 70-yard reception that set up the first Jets touchdown in the first quarter.
Like Sim said before, Corbett's always open, so you might as well throw it to him.
Deflected and almost intercepted. Almost into the arms of Dunstan Anderson after Jason Taylor got a piece of it.
But he was throwing the ball. Neil O'Donnell, was throwing the ball to Corbett again. Number 80, just a little short breakout pattern. Pick up that first down. And you'll see O'Donnell looking to his right, and then it's going to be by Taylor. He's right there, gets his hand up, knocks the ball down.
3rd down and a yard at the 32. Clock stopped at 3:35. Out of bounds goes Leon Johnson, who stops the clock, and a first down at the 40. 9 yards on the plate. Tim Jacobs, an extra DB, covering him.
That tells you something about Leon Johnson and his talents. When they go to 5 wide receivers, he's one of them. Most of the time splits all the way to the outside. Now they got 4 wide receivers. Leon Johnson in the backfield.
Donald to Corbett. Does he get out of bounds? Yes. At the 45, earns 5 more yards, and 3:26 showing on the clock.
That's what you got to do with the New York Jet offense. You see this type of defense, keep throwing it short, and as soon as they change and give you an opportunity to go up the field, then you take your shot. Do not try to force it with the timeouts. 3:26 to go, plenty of time.
Well, they've gone 23 yards in 24 seconds.
Well, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive backs, 7 yards off the ball. O'Donnell incomplete to Leon Johnson. Terrell Buckley there to knock it away.
You know, when we were in a break, Phil Simms and I were talking about, you know, these out patterns that the Jets are running. And Phil, you were talking about the Miami Dolphins corners have been sitting there waiting, and you wouldn't be surprised to see him pick one.
Well, the one reason they won't probably is because Neil O'Donnell is throwing the ball in the only good spot there is, way outside where his guy has a chance to catch it, and the defenders really can't make a play on it.
Deshaun Johnson with a spectacular touchdown catch way out to the left. Corbett slotted right. O'Donnell fumbles the ball and Miami recovers. Trace Armstrong fell on the loose ball.
Well, a problem that's plagued Neil O'Donnell really his whole career is that when he drops back to pass, he keeps his hands. He doesn't put both hands on the football. Watch him right here. Even though he gets pressure, and you got to step up. Derek Brooks coming around. Look at the hands. The left hand not even close to the ball. That's the reason why he fumbles.
Derek Rogers forces the first turnover of the game. 5 sacks for the Miami defense today.
Derek Rogers coming outside. Neil O'Donnell, every time he makes a move in the pocket, his first instinct is to separate his hands. That time it cost him a fumble.
Green knocks him out of bounds, and that stops the clock at the 34. A gain of 2. Aaron Glenn in on the tackle.
And of course, don't go out of bounds. The last thing you want to do as a runner.
Here's how the game has developed today. Dolphins leading 24-14. Marino with terrific numbers, 351 yards and a couple of scores. O'Donnell 5 sacks and a forced fumble. Miller game summary. Unexpected. Adrian Morrell unable to run the ball, and that has forced O'Donnell to pass, and Miami has been able to put some good pressure on him. 1 yard maybe for Abdul-Jabbar, with the clock ticking to 3:04 and stopped now by the Jets. John Hall missed a short field goal that would have tied it in the earlier in this fourth quarter.
Filippo. Jimmy Johnson said we can run the ball against the New York Jet offense or defensive line.
Right.
25 rushes, 82 yards.
I would call that successful. I think the Miami Dolphins, maybe they found something out today. Come out, the tight end now is involved in the passing game. The backs, the receivers look a little more dynamic. You throw the ball, and then when the other team is trying to stop that passing game, you sneak a run in there every now and then. You have a little success, and somewhere down the line, your running game will get better.
3rd and 7 for Marino. He eludes the rush and then shovels one to Parmalee, and Parmalee goes all the way to the 11-yard line. Pike position.
I give him 9. I'm going to give him a 9 on the dive.
I tell you what is impressive about this play. This is Dan Marino of the old. Everybody used to see years ago. Watch him in the pocket. There's nobody open. Little hop, 2 hops, hop, hop. Hip, hop forward. Oh, take it. I mean, that is buying time. That is really having, you know, a good feel for the pocket. A hand slaps him, never panics. Then he finds Bernie Parmalee wide open.
The only other thing about that thing, Dick, is the fact that he has confidence in his offensive line. They're going to hold up.
Big 3rd down play. Buys another 4 downs for Miami. Irving spikes to about the 8-yard line, and back to Parmalee's catch. He's starting at fullback today as Jimmy Johnson looking for a new combination, not getting a lot of productivity out of that fullback position. He's got 6 catches and 91 yards. Parmalee.
Well, they like the fullback to be a pass catcher, so maybe they found a good combination there.
2-minute warning. Miami in control with the ball, leading by 10. Through the years, as we have documented, Dan Marino's had some of his biggest games against the Jets, and this is his biggest game of this year by a bunch. 372 yards. Previous high was 324 against Tennessee.
We see no sacks. He's only been sacked 4 times this year. But there's one other thing I want to say about Marino.
That's Irving spikes. Skipping in with a score, Irving spikes. So Jimmy Johnson has found some new players in his scheme today. Bernie Parmalee from fullback. Spikes backing up Abdul-Jabbar. Troy Drayton, the tight end.
Lamar Thomas, the wide receiver, put a little more speed outside, some playmaking ability.
One other thing, though, we're talking about Marino, is that he does look like he has a little bit more skip in his step. I mean, he looks like he's fresh. His legs are fresh.
Yeah, Paul, it really does. That's what I've noticed all day long. He's got a little spring in him, and that's one of the reasons why I think he's throwing the ball so well. His legs look fresh.
Marte, the extra point, and with a couple of touchdowns late, Miami opens a comfortable 31-14 lead. Second touchdown of the season for Irving Spikes.
I watched the spikes go in for the touchdown, and we talked about earlier, Dick, about how big this offensive line is for the Miami Dolphins. And it just looked like they were just leaning on the Jets, and as they were leaning, he was running by.
Well, based on New England having an insurmountable lead against Buffalo and giving Miami the win here, that's how the AFC East will read tomorrow morning. New England a game ahead of Miami. The Jets still a respectable 4-3. When you consider the fact that the Jets won only 4 games total the last 2 seasons, they've got 4 wins through 7 games this year. You can understand how the hopes are higher here. The New York Jets fans, and they've shown out in full numbers. You often saw a lot of 15,000, 20,000 empty seats for Jets games. They were filled here at the Meadowlands today.
Good day. It was a good game for Jet fans today. Their team was in it. That's really all you expected here. You didn't know. You think maybe they could pull out a win because they were at home, but these two teams are pretty evenly matched.
And for Miami, I don't think we can bury Dan Marino yet, do you think?
I think everybody and all the writers and all the people that have been trying to bring him down, leave him alone. He's fine.
I don't know. Maybe if you keep picking on him, he'll keep playing well, though.
He said, and he was very confident and relaxed as we talked to him yesterday. Leon Johnson takes a knee. They'll start at Marino. Couple more touchdown passes today. We ask him what is he most proud of. We'll give you that reply after O'Donnell throws downfield to Johnson. That should be interference, and lots of flags fly out at the 41-yard line as Tim Jacobs all over Keyshawn Johnson. Marino said he's most proud of the fact that he had that long streak.
Pass interference. Number 34 of the defense. Automatic first down.
145 games that he played consecutively for a quarterback, taking a lot of punishment, although he probably less than most because of his quick release and good protection.
Another thing about him, though, it really, if you don't know him, don't ever judge him. He's the most modest guy you're ever going to be around. I mean, he really is.
You can't get him to say anything nice about himself, can you?
Nope.
O'Donnell to Johnson, open and out of bounds with the catch. It is a catch at the 28-yard line. Let's look at the veteran from the University of Pittsburgh and his work today. Not a bad catch by McDuffie. And then wide open Abdul-Jabbar. Lamar Thomas with another touchdown. Troy Drayton, the tight end. Charles Jordan. And even when there's a fumble, McDuffie there to score. Marino said the other thing, he said you can't deny he had 375 touchdown passes in his career, all time mark. O'Donnell throwing it too far with 1:37 remaining. So Bill Parcells came in with high hopes of running the Jets record to 5-2, as you said earlier. 5-2 you thought would put them in the playoffs with their schedule ahead.
Well, now 4-3. Of course, they got New England next week. It's going to be awful tough for them. But if you're Bill Parcells, what do you say to your team? And I think after a game like this, the score's a little misleading, but he goes back. It's going to come back. You didn't react well under pressure. A couple times a day, they had chances to get in this game, maybe take the lead, and they made a mistake. And that'll be the theme. So that means a lot more hard coaching, putting his players under pressure so they react better in those situations when the game comes around.
O'Donnell just lobs one to Johnson, and Johnson adjusts nicely, but then stays in bounds inside the 10. The clock will run. 1:25 left. Now, speaking of the Jets and their schedule, of course, a last place schedule. They earned from their futility of a year ago. In New England, then a bye. We'll give you another look at that as O'Donnell hurries it up. Searching. Here's the open man. Touchdown, Wayne Corbett. Is he always open?
Well, I could have gotten open. I'm sorry, but I mean, Neil O'Donnell had a year and a half to throw the ball. He was sliding. No, there was absolutely no pressure on him. Everybody's in the end zone, and Wayne Corbett just kept going back and forth. They're going to go for 2 here because they're down by 17.
5 catches for Corbett on the day, 104 yards, and now a touchdown. His 3rd of the season.
But there was no pressure on the quarterback, and Neil O'Donnell just kept sliding and let Corbett get open.
Well, you know, in a quarterback this situation, you know you can't win the game. You go out there and you go, well, the good thing is they're playing this really soft defense. I'm going to complete some passes and probably get a chance to throw a touchdown pass, which they did.
Load up the right side. He rolls right and throws incomplete. Well, you think about O'Donnell's fumble here late in this quarter that led to the short field and the touchdown as Trace Armstrong and one of the Jets.
Neil O'Donnell. Neil O'Donnell went after
him.
Trace Armstrong, knocked him down, and Neil O'Donnell went after him. I mean, not viciously.
Yeah, he's a big guy. He's got a, smart quarterback.
Well, Neil O'Donnell, watch this here. He's going to get nailed, and when he gets nailed, he comes back up at Trace Armstrong that he goes after.
Little solace to Parcells to see his team cut the lead to 31-20 with 1:03 left. Jets still have 2 timeouts. Undoubtedly will try the onside kick here.
Well, you never give up. Onside kick recovered. Get that quick touchdown. Onside kick again. Throw a Hail Mary. You never know, Paul.
You never know. You know,
really
it's never over till it's over. You know what I mean?
No, explain that to me.
Not till that guy pulls out that little gun and shoots it.
So Hall, you can see how he sets up the ball for the onside kick. He just lays it flat. Now tips it a little bit. That's an unusual. And here we go. Pass straight up. 10 yards. And leaping high was a Dolphin to recover. It appeared to be Lamar Thomas. Thomas, who, no, it was 22.
Sean Wooden again.
Yeah.
He recovered. I think this is really, this is awesome the way they do these onside kicks now. They kick it. It takes one hop. Watch this as it goes along.
Kicks the point of the ball.
And now it goes boing straight up. It almost always happens. It's just a jump ball between the offense and defense.
Good job by Sean Wooden. He had Leon Johnson right there.
Dick, you're right.
Jets.
Lamar Thomas jumped up, had his hands on it. There's just too many people around for him to pull it down and get it to his chest.
58 seconds left. And it'll be a kneel down for Marino. We'll see if the Jets use a timeout. Jim Kitts is in the game now for Miami. He means he's going to get a paycheck. New England at home for the Jets next week. Then the bye at the midpoint. Then Baltimore at home, at Miami, Chicago, and Minnesota here.
You got to look at that, and you see teams that the New England's going to be a tough game, but the rest of them, you have to think that the Jets will have a chance to win those games. And that's the way I always kind of look at the schedule. If they get through the first half somewhat with a reasonable record, they'd have a chance to maybe get a little run going in the second half of the season and somehow qualify for the playoffs.
We see number 48, Jim Kitts. He most he ever made was like $1,300 a game in the World League, and he's already got $10,000 last week, but he didn't know he got paid last week. He didn't even go for the check. There's Dolphins games ahead at Baltimore. They've already had their bye. Chicago at home, at Buffalo. Much tougher schedule for Jimmy Johnson. So Parcells and Johnson have met again, and Johnson on the road leaves with a victory, and more importantly in the division, Miami is now 2-0 and the Jets 1-3. Let's go down to James Lofton.
Where's the smile, Jimmy?
Well, I had a smile until we gave up that last touchdown. I was wanting our defense to play a little bit better, when we got the big lead, but the guys did a nice job. I thought our offense was going to be able to break out, and even though we still didn't get 100 yards rushing, we did run the ball a little bit, and then of course Dan played outstanding. He really made some great plays.
You got a lot of young ball players on this team, but it seems like it always falls back in the lap of the senior citizen Dan Marino.
Well, Dan did a nice job. The defense did a heck of a job, because we gave up the easy one when we busted the coverage there to start the ball game off, and then really played pretty well after that, especially the second half. Our defense. Last week against Kansas City, they kept them from scoring. And other than that last little play, we were able to keep them from scoring in the second half again.
Now, New England just smothered Buffalo today. This puts you guys squarely back in the race for this division.
Well, as young as our football team is and as many injuries as we've had, we just want to win a game. We got Baltimore next week, and we just got to play like the Dickens to try to win that game.
Well, thanks, Jimmy. Right. Dick, back up to you.
All right, thanks, James. So we have more here from the Meadowlands, where Miami has prevailed, so don't wander off. And then, of course, baseball, Game 5, the Braves and the Marlins here on NBC. We'll be back outside the Big Apple right after we pause for these words. You're watching the NFL on NBC. Well, it was a game that displayed some fantastic talent, especially by the wide receivers. I'll leave San Jose some catches. You wish you could see those every week.
They're all highlight package, but I'll tell you the interesting thing, James Lofton talking to Jimmy Johnson, he already knew just at the end of the game they didn't have 100 yards rushing.
He sits over there with a clicker and he clicks them on as they run the football. But the one thing I know that you can count on this league is you don't know what to expect each week. I thought the Dolphins, you know, I just thought maybe they're an average team. They come out here today, I think they might have found a formula they like, and it looks like they could be a factor if they play like this the rest of the year.
So Jimmy Johnson's team is back in the thick of things with New England Patriots, the AFC defending champions, winning impressively today. But it appears as we approach the midpoint of this season that indeed there's just no one team, maybe Denver, one team that's going to dominate. Final score again. Miami celebrates a 31-20 victory. Coming up next on NBC, Game 5 of the National League Series, Braves and Marlins, best of 7 tied at 2 games all. For Paul McGuire, Phil Simms, and James Lofton, I'm Dick Enberg saying so long from the Meadowlands. You've been watching the NFL on NBC, the network of the Super Bowl.